JP Ostiguy. I am the MC for your entertainment tonight, and I'm proud and privileged to be here. Who has been to a Game Changer before? Raise your hand. Nice, welcome back. And obviously the other ones are the first time, so you don't have to raise your hand. All right. A little bit about me. I am currently a general manager at a Nissan store. I have been a corporate trainer for many of dealers, and I own a networking company teaching people how to network. I formerly was a strip club announcer and a stand-up comedian. So you're going to hear a lot of this voice. Jason seems to like it. So you'll hear a lot of it later. If you're all like, his voice sounds familiar, that's probably why. I had to retire from that. I didn't want to be a washed up old guy, you know, announcing guys down there. No, it wasn't my thing. So today is a day of learning. We are very, very, very blessed, and I am honored to have Joe Webb here from Dealer Knows. Joe is I've kind of bumped into him online, not dating. It was awkward.
False.
POF. No, he has some amazing video out and content out from a strategist, from a communication specialist to help you take back knowledge to your dealers, how to communicate better with internet leads, with phone calls, with everything else. So let's give it up for Joe Webb. I said that, let's give it up. That sucked. Let's give it up for Joe Webb. A little story for Joe. We're going to get you on in 1 second. He went through agony to get here for your entertainment. He was flying supposedly to Toronto, and he got stuck in, was it Charlotte?
I got stuck in Charlotte.
Charlotte.
We got into the air and immediately came back down, not in a crash.
No.
Thankfully, and they said, "Oh, there's a problem where the parking brake is off, but it shows that it's on. We can't fly like this." And I'm like, "BS! I drove a car through college that had the same problem." But they came in, they couldn't figure it out, deboarded, it was canceled. A long line got up, and I'm really sort of antsy. I had to wait long. They said I couldn't get here until Thursday afternoon, so I promptly left the terminal on a whim, asked for my bag, found one rental car company with one Canadian car in Charlotte, and then I came back, waited 3.5 hours for them to find my bag, got in the car, and drove here. I got like half the way last night, and then the other half the way this morning after 4 hours of sleep, and getting through customs. And you know, they get there and they said, "What are you here for?" And I never want to say work because they harass me. So I said, "I'm coming for a friend's 50th birthday party." Brent, even though he's like 53 now probably. They said, "What's his name?" And I said, "Brent Wees." They said, "All right, step out of the car, sir." Yeah. So I got through here and walked in about 20 minutes before this thing started. So don't you worry. I may be physically and mentally exhausted, but I do have 2 ear infections going too, so that's twice.
So again,
you're a crybaby.
Yeah, I am.
Let's give it up for Joe Webb. And before Joe comes on board, I want to introduce Brent Wees, our other speaker. Brent Wees is a strategist. He's done almost everything possible and impossible in the automotive business. He helps dealers figure out how to do business. He inspires people. He talks about advertising. He saves you advertising dollars. And he's just an all-around nice guy. He's also the beautiful one. I just want to say that. He is a beautiful one. Let's give it up for Brent Wees. You can do better than that. Let's give up Brent Wees.
Are you forgetting something? I'll get him. I'll get him.
So,
oh, I can't bring this up now?
Yeah, why wouldn't we?
They're gonna have a really fun session. Who's watched Maury Povich before? Yeah. My wife lives on that show.
Not literally. I mean, she watches it.
Yeah, she's like, "Are you the father?" And I'm like, "No, I had nothing to do with her." So we're gonna do a Maury Povich theme. Joe and Brent are gonna do a Maury Povich theme. You are not the father of the sale. After that, you're going to meet Joe in person. He's going to go into some detailed stuff for a little while. Then Brent's going to go into some detailed stuff for a while. Then, of course, our host. And first of all, let's give it up for Jason Harris for putting on this event. Without Jason, and for a bigger round of applause, his team. This wouldn't be possible. Woo! These guys were here at 9 in the morning trying to set up. They didn't get the room till 12:30. So without that, it would be possible. And for everyone, the millions listening at home, thank you for joining us. So we're just going to re-mic, but this is going to be fun. Get ready to be entertained. Get ready to stand up and participate. You have no choice. All right? Try not to pass out. I know mouth to mouth. Okay, awkward.
Good for now. We'll see after a few drinks.
Anyway, Joe, Webb, and Brent Wees.
So, thank you to JP. I connected with JP several years ago, and we've been able to stay in touch over the years. I've more recently been connected with Jason. I will say, on a personal level, from somebody who does a lot of what he does, I'm insanely impressed with the amount of content he puts out to his audience. I think anybody automotive otherwise would be crazy not to follow him. Now, it can get a little heavy sometimes with the sheer volume of content.
Hey man,
but
nothing's wrong. Nothing is wrong with 30 posts a morning with video.
Nonetheless,
there's
it is
nothing
a
wrong
lot
with
of good
30 a
content.
morning.
So
Per channel.
Yes. So the one thing, the reason Brent and I wanted to call it, "You are not the father of the sale," or the results are in "You are not the father of the sale," is because there's a buzzword of attribution going through the industry for the last 3 years, where everyone, and in a lot of ways it's been solved, everyone is trying to take credit for the sale, that prove that they are the responsible party that ended the sale. And the reason they do this is to acquire as many of your marketing dollars as humanly possible so they can fund their own operation and in turn try to find new ways to take credit for the sale. However, through the data that Brent's company, The Next Up, has been able to collect, and through my company, Dealer Knows, has been able to collect, we've been able to identify what truly does influence a retail customer's influence over a sale, determine whether or not they bought it.
So that's, in essence, what we're trying to do is just, what we like to do is we just like to myth bust, right? As Joe said, marketers and advertisers, and I always say this, like to create problems that we will create and solve for you on your budget. So we're going to go through that with you, but you're going to help us in this whole session today. It's interactive. Everyone will be asked to be involved, and we're going to work this out together, because what we like most about this is all of these exercises we figure out as a group, based on our own stores and our own businesses, be it automotive or different, right? Joe? Yes?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you still with me?
Yep.
Are you asleep yet?
No, yeah, I'm good. I'm good.
He just nodded completely off.
No, but two other people fell asleep while you were talking to. So, should we distribute these bibs yet, or is it too early?
I think it's a little bit too early, because I want to do some questions. I want to do some Q&A.
Okay, yeah, let's go.
I want to do some Q&A. So looking at attribution, just like Maury. So let's go what to expect when expecting data. Let's go into this. So is your dealership or store, for my jacuzzi friends here in the room, for your dealership? Hyperpool, sorry, Hyperpool? Hydropool?
Yeah, it's hyper once you get in,
Hydroplane.
but it's otherwise.
All right. Is your dealership using an attribution model? Just show of hands. Is it using some sort of attribution model? A couple people? Don't be shy. One person, Adam's very, yes, me. So we're not going to point it. What kind? Multi-point, single? Last touch. Okay, thank you, perfect.
So anybody with a CRM, for the most part, in that case, is measuring attribution on their internet leads. Let's face it, CRMs, as most people have it, are garbage in, garbage out. So even myself in retail, I would leave words like newspaper as a source in the CRM just to see how many people on my sales team would select it. I'd be like, Sammy, we haven't been to the newspaper in 2 years. Why do you keep clicking it? You're dumb. And you will see, if you ask customers right out front and you ask them to circle, because we used to try to do attribution sourcing even in the finance office, and you give them 10, 15 logos you're spending money with, ask them to circle, they will almost always circle Auto Trader. Why? Because it's a big, loud brand that has a lot of familiarity. But the problem is, per Google, the average consumer's been on 18 plus different websites in advance of purchasing an automobile. So you cannot just reward 18 different websites. That doesn't mean they influenced it. That doesn't mean it was a direct connection to your website. You cannot just give out your $40,000 a month budget to 18 different sites because all 18 websites have been visited.
So one of the things to think about too is when you're working with customers, as Joe said, they will circle the easiest or pick the easiest option of what what brought them in. So what we always say too is why manager intros are important just when you're meeting customers is if Adam's out on the floor and he's talking to a customer about the car that they're in looking at, they're looking at an Infiniti, and he says, what brought you in? And they go, the trader.ca site was the thing that brought me in, and the manager intro happens. We always say to the managers, like, ask as well, and it's not because Adam's a complete idiot and can't do his job. I do pick on Adam a lot, but that manager can also double check that, right? Because now you're building just verbal accountability on a source that's coming in, right? Let's go from there. On a scale of 1 to 10, how confident are you that your marketing attribution data provides results in the sales and service department?
In other words, if you believe you know where sales are coming from, everybody here, whether or not you have some control over where money is spent, everybody understands that money is spent towards advertising sources, and that in turn hopefully culminates into a sale. How many of you believe you know whether or not your advertising is even working for you?
Who's about 5? Who thinks they're about a 5? About halfway there. That is working. Anybody higher than 5? 6? About a 6? Yeah, a little higher. How about below 5? Who thinks who's below 5? Right? Thank you guys for being honest, and we won't break down the numbers there, but I think that's what we find when we've done this session or we talk about attribution and other things we do, is that most of us still do have this gray area, but meanwhile the talk of attribution and the solutions behind it are still keeping the waters pretty muddy and things pretty cloudy.
Correct.
All right. What makes customers like the dealership they buy from?
Throw
them out.
Some things out. Reviews, okay?
Reviews, experience. Okay.
Customer experience.
Just 2? The brand?
The salesperson.
Salesperson? Location?
Location.
Did they get a deal on it?
Did they get a deal? Previous experience?
Explanation of paperwork.
Explanation of paperwork.
Explanation of paperwork on site. Really interesting, right?
Service department?
Or online.
Anyone brave enough to throw out family owned for over 40 years yet? Or dumb enough to do that? I dare you. No.
So I mean, but truth be told, yes, in community. So it's interesting because
wrong with that?
One person said customer experience, which
Right.
He and I can't agree with more, but that is a real subjective answer. It's hard to identify unless you have policies, procedures in place. The truth is, the gentleman that said location, even as somebody who trains how to communicate with customers and influence more people to choose you, I will be the first to say your location and your inventory or inventory amount or specific inventory will probably predict 80%, 70% of the people that buy from you. I mean, not as many people who are in Idaho right now are searching dealers in California or in Massachusetts. Your location, your brand, your inventory plays the most significant role in whether or not somebody chooses you. So marketing notwithstanding, location, inventory is a major pull, as are reviews, customer experience, all those things. That's when you start building a sort of long-term brand and amount of loyal fans to your organization.
Perfect. Let's keep moving. So what we want you to do really is...
We got time.
Do we have
They
time?
got us for 2 hours.
Yeah, there you go.
For God's sakes.
Yeah, well, we're not doing this for 2 hours.
No, we're doing this for an hour.
45.
Yeah.
Let's do it in 35. So what we basically want you guys to do is, because of what we talked about as a group and those questions we asked you, is we just want you to question attribution. And it's a simple fact that we're going to take you through these exercises now in order, like I said at the start of the session, for us to figure out as a group. And were you here in Vegas when we did this? Were you at the Vegas one? Okay. So what we want to do is we want to get some people up and get some bibs going on. So we're gonna start this first exercise with how many do I need? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Really? Are you sure?
Oh, right,
3,
okay, no, maybe
6,
that's the second
9, 12, 14. Yeah, 14. So exactly. Way to go. You can count. All right. I want to go. I'm going to give you a bib. There you go. I'm just going to go around the table here. You just put these on.
And we're going to get you. Should we get them up? We'll get them up.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. We're going to. You're the sale.
Should I bring them over here? Should I start
You're
coming
the
over
sale. What's your name? Sean. Sean's the sale.
here? Sean's the sale. Okay.
Sean's the sale. Sean's the sale. Sam, there you go. Give me another one. You're going to go around that
Yeah, I'm
side?
going to go this way.
All right.
Here you go. You're a
Inventory
forum.
listing.
You're a trade-in
Okay.
offer lead.
Here's dealer website.
I got it.
Okay.
I know how to handle
Now
that.
some of them I've added extra graphics on. I got a little creative yesterday when I was doing this. I got engaged by email.
Okay.
Look at my homeboy.
Are you still looking?
I got engaged
How
by
many you got?
phone.
There you
Test drive. Yeah, a couple more. Send those
Give
out.
some to the back row then. We
Showroom
give them so
visit.
not everybody has to leave this area.
Price validate. I'm a test drive. Price validation site. There, we good. We got 2 more. Here you go. Test drive. There you go. Your price validation site. Okay. So what we want you guys to do is.
If you're wearing a bib, we're going to ask you to stand up over here. And Sean, if we can,
Yeah.
we'll have you back up right over here.
Yeah.
And we're going to have people
Sean
line
is
up.
the sale. So
Sean
Sean's
is the goal. Everybody
Bibbs,
wants to be.
come here, Bibbs.
Everybody wants to be with Sean with the sale.
Yeah, but come
So-
here, Bibbs. Yeah, I
Yes.
want my bibs here, and then we're going to make them.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay.
So everyone with a bib, come over to this side of the room. We're going to work in this aisle here, so we'll push on our chairs.
Keep going.
Exactly.
See if anybody's here.
There'll be Alaskan king crab legs
See-
served at the
seems like
min.
somebody's knocking on the door.
All right. So like we said, so your exercise here as a group, I want you guys to huddle up and figure it out. So Sean is the sale by JP. What you guys have to do as a group, and I want you guys to try to do this in what, 5 minutes?
Yeah,
or
and
less?
4 minutes, 3. Communicate, look at each other, just like those games where you have to look what everybody else is wearing hat-wise. No one can read your thing.
Yeah, I ripped mine. I don't know what to do.
Oh, my God.
Here,
You
you-
picked the wrong guy.
Here we go. No, do this. Holy cow. Yeah.
So, in other words, we want you, based on how influential you feel you are to the sale, if you're super influential, stand closer to Sean.
Yeah,
if you play
this is
very
the
little
line.
role whatsoever, stand towards the back, and then we're going to reorganize you based on actual data.
All right, so you guys figure it out. Sean is the sale, so whoever thinks they're closest to the sale. Yeah, you guys talk about it as a group. No one from the audience help these
Yeah.
bozos out. Don't talk to me. Don't talk to me, Brandon. Talk to these guys. All right. This is so good.
It's a brainchild of mine.
Nobody's coming close to me
Where are
now.
you on?
No, exactly.
OEM site?
I'm the.
Good. When we did this in Vegas, though, the girl who was wearing test drive, she immediately came right up to the front while they all still worked the thing out. And she just stood there the whole time, for 5 minutes while everyone was working it out.
Yeah.
She just stood right up to the front, like waiting. She just knew, right?
Yeah.
Come up closer. Are you think right there?
I think I'm pretty close.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, no. I was thinking about we're just running it up the shirt.
Is everyone in the audience figuring it
I
out?
just didn't have time.
So this is the sale, and this is
I
non-influencing.
always like watching car guys figure out their own shit when you like take them out of the showroom. This is.
A price validation site, just so everybody understands, like a price validation site would be a True Car or a Car Gurus, or a site where people go to. Well, Carfax would be more of a used car leader or inventory listing site nowadays. But otherwise, I would say that would be the type of site where people go solely to validate their price. So a True Car or Car Gurus is the main reason. They understand the deal, and that's why they go to it. No audience help.
Yeah. Keep it down, Christine.
All right, where are you guys? File in. You're close. What do you think?
How close you are? Come on. One more. All right, let's see what we got. See what we got. Okay, right? You ready, Joe?
Sure.
All right, so I took a test drive. I'm a showroom visit. I'm family and friends. I'm a dealer website. I got engaged by phone. Got engaged by email. That's a great email graphic I drew. I'm a trade and offer lead. I did a live chat. I'm a review site. I'm a price validation site. I'm an inventory listing site. I'm a forum. I'm an OEM site. Can we give these guys a hand for trying to figure this out? Right? All right. Number 13, the last one is I'm a forum, so switch.
Yeah.
You guys switch.
So in other words,
Yeah,
from a forum, I mean, when's the last time you went on a forum yourself? Like an
Exactly.
old AOL chat room?
exactly.
I
Trying-
understand, yeah.
Trying to find like drugs at Lollapalooza or something, right? You know, like, I don't know. Maybe.
You'd know, maybe.
Not that I've ever partaken. Let's go to 12.
All right. So in regard to friends and family, we understand. Yep, we understand that friends and family are important and influence, but it is extremely difficult. There's no way to really justify or understand where a friends or family sale is coming from for the most part.
Easy.
So think of it this way: even if you have referrals saved as a unique identifier inside your CRM, you only get a few referral sales every single month. Regardless of all the sales you sell every month, it plays an extremely low role. And the truth is, back in the day, like if your dad drove a Chevy, your uncle drove a Chevy, your brother drives a Chevy, your grandpa drove a Chevy, guess what your ass was getting? Exactly. Nowadays, your dad's got a BMW, or your mom's got a Camry, your sister's got a Hyundai, your grandfather's definitely got a Buick, and you're saying,
Yeah.
and you're saying, I'm going to go look at the Ford. Like, people want their own lifestyle. People want what everybody else doesn't have. They all want to be unique in how they purchase nowadays. And that's why loyalty, brand-wise, is going down significantly in automotive. So friends and family towards the end.
Yeah. Towards the end. Here we go. I'm a review site. Where's a review site? You go back. You're third last.
So the reason this is we understand reviews are extremely important to organizations. Hands down, very well visited. You
Yep.
can see more calls coming from Google Webmaster, or I mean Webmaster,
Google
your
Business.
Google My Business page. You can see more activity come from Google My Business, provided you have more reviews. With that said, how often do you get reviews from actual Dealer Rater? How often do you get reviews from a specific site that culminates in a sale? People use that as a means to influence, but it doesn't influence. That influences why they visit you, not why they buy a car.
That's right. All right. Let's go to number 10. I'm a trade-in offer lead. Where's my trade-in offer lead? There you go, Brandon.
So
The ringmaster trying to figure it out.
if you look at this, if you look at this and understand from a trade perspective, because we measure and monitor how thoroughly people are following up with their internet opportunities, and we track it all the way to sale. I will say from a trade-in offer, the Kelley Blue Book instant cash offers, the Auto Trader trade-in marketplaces, those are sites, and I don't mean to crap on brands, but
Yeah, you
those
do.
are, I don't get paid by vendors, so those are brands that recognize they weren't delivering enough traffic to their own websites. So why don't we find a way to deliver some value and place our widgets on their websites, and we can take credit for some of the traffic or of lead traffic that the dealership is generating, provided it's all their own customers that are on their sites. But those customers that you are generating all these leads from, trade leads, while they do sell cars, they sell a few amount of cars. You can buy a lot more cars than you'll actually end up selling. Instant cash offer and Auto Trader Tim leads, for instance, close at a 0.096% nationwide.
Yeah.
I mean, sorry, North America, because we use all 4 provinces.
Let's not Ben stock this and ask if we have Sears up here today or running water. All right. I'm a price validation site. Oh, I moved him up, but he's moving up. So 4.74 price validation leads actually buy the car.
Yeah, there's another website, not a website, a company called Driven Data Consulting. They did a year-long review of 100,000 TrueCar leads, for instance, and put out their data study just for third-party lead providers. And their data for 2018 showed a total closing ratio on about 98,000 leads of 2.9%. They released their Q1 data for 2019, and it moved up to 3.1. But I will tell you, if you're still investing a lot of money in TrueCar, now that Chip Perry stepped down as well, but if you are investing a lot of money there, you have to work that tool. You can talk to me after, but through the portal and not through your CRM as much as you would need to through your portal if you want to get it to rise above. Even for our clients, whether they have our processes or not, for under 5% closing ratio. So it's a lot of work on a lot of leads for little payoff.
There you go. Let's go to the next one. I'm an OEM site. Where's my OEM site? Oh, we
Right
moved
on.
up. You were at the back. You were at the back. You didn't do anything smart, basically, what we're saying.
Yeah.
But 5.07 of OEM leads buy the car.
Regardless how many times your OEMs
Tell you
hey, it's 9% closing ratio, we will say we have all the data that suggests, regardless of the OEM, it's going to close 5%.
But it's interesting too, though, because you set yourself at the end, at the start. So even you guys, the dealers, know what you're getting and know how it's closing. So you immediately put yourself at the back of the line, seeing what everything was. He put himself at the very end, like,
Yeah.
oh, I'm an
Actually, I think we just want to get a drink.
Probably. He's closest to the bar. True. I'm an inventory listing site. Oh, have you been there the whole time? Have you been there the whole time? No, I've been bumped. Oh, you've been bumped? All right. I'm kind of half watching batting practice and paying attention to what I'm doing. So, all right, good.
So that would be the Cars.coms, the Auto Traders of the worlds. Understand, we still think those should close 9%, 10% if you have a good process attached to it. But across the board, most dealers, 6%.
Okay. Good. I did a live chat. Biesenthal, you didn't even move, did you? Did everyone get bumped? I know some of you guys in the middle up front haven't moved too much. But yeah, live chat. So it's interesting right now because online, just recently I was seeing a lot of back and forth, like is chat dead, is it not? Are bots becoming more prevalent? We were just talking about some bot traffic and bot technology. But you know, it's not a bad thing, but it still sits middle of the pack for those chat leads, right? Because a lot of chat leads too are just people, you know, at night. Like what I've seen is service chat during the day, buying chat at night, and I see a lot of heads
And good chat providers will be able to divide up those two different sources as to sales or service.
Yeah. So again, it's just one of those things too where you really have to dive in.
But it's still good.
Yeah,
Over
it's
10%
good.
chat is
It's
what it
decent.
should be closing, and those are people that want immediate gratification, instant replies, which means if your team is waiting more than 20 seconds to engage with somebody in live chat, you're going to lose them. The average customer starts dropping off of live chat boxes at 6 seconds.
That's 6 seconds. Here's the thing too, check your chat, because I was monitoring some chats the other day, and I noticed that sometimes operators will leave like 4 to 6 minute gaps during discussions. So that's what, like to Joe's point about that drop off, is really hold your providers accountable for that time in between queries, because if they are providing you live chat, those people should be turning around. That, like, it's not that we don't have anything that we can't like get information on super quick. Like they should be turning that around for you, and that's why a lot of providers are starting to use bots, because bots can pull the general information faster than an operator maybe can, especially through an inventory pull. So things to look at as you leave here, just keep your eye on that gap. On your
And really
gaps.
quick, show of hands, who is managing their own chat and not having it managed by a company? Who's managing their own chat?
Doing that starting in August.
Yeah.
Okay.
Who's
Interesting.
ever been catfished on social media? Anyone? No?
Just Brent.
And Bill. And Bill.
Yeah.
Thanks, Bill.
Sorry,
yeah.
Bill, I
Sorry, Bill.
love you.
All right. I'm
You
a
thought
dealer
it was an old guy,
I'm a
but
dealer
it was a
website.
girl?
You guys got to change. Yep, you get beside Adam. You guys move up. So 12.6% of a dealer site lead comes from the dealer website.
So your closing ratio for websites,
Or buys a car. sorry.
yeah, or that buys a car.
Yeah, yeah.
Your closing ratio, whether or not they visit your website. Don't get me wrong, 85% of people in advance of visiting your store has been on your website. So if you still have a management staff that, and I'm all for starting the deal off at the desk, but understand, if you source them and you know unequivocally that they've been on your website and they ask for a specific car, starting that off at the desk without taking into effect that there's an internet price on that car and that customer has seen that internet price is going to potentially cost you a sale because you look like you're going to steal from them.
Right. All right. Here we go. I got engaged by email. All right. Right spot. 4 times increase in closing ratio when an email lead responds.
So
And this is your wheelhouse, what you and Bill.
Yeah, so
focus on.
20% of right now, on average, 20% of everybody who buys a car has submitted a lead in advance, 20% has called in advance. But that takes really large dealer groups in metro to small mom and pop and rural. That can completely change on brand as well. We do see stores that are generating 70%, 80% of their sales strictly off of engagement originated in a BDC or internet department, depending on how separated they are from civilization, so to speak. But with that said, if you live in a suburban area or a moderately busy store, I will tell you, if you can get engagement with lead, you have 4 times the likelihood of that customer buying than if they never engaged with you by email.
Great. I got engaged by phone. You're in the right spot. 7 times increase in closing ratio.
Yeah, so once again, we understand that text is becoming more prevalent. And even in Canada, we recognize that you guys have some of the strictest text and SMS spam
Privacy.
rules
Yep.
out there. But even with that said, CRMs are now allowing you to send the required opt-ins. Text is a great means, but it's also making stores go quiet. The phone still, without question, allows you to build value, build rapport, where text really doesn't allow. building value or building rapport. It's short bursts of information. It's short bursts of, I wouldn't even say conversation, of question answering. So with that said, there's a real value. 7 times more people will buy from you after submitting a lead if you connect with them on phone than if you don't.
There you go. All right. I'm a showroom visit. You're in the right spot. Great. So 39.5% closing ratio on a showroom visit, and that's a blend. So based on our data, what we see is that when someone walks in, a fresh walk-in walks into the store, they're coming in at about 22% at a closing ratio.
22% buy.
22%. And if you get a manager intro in there, you're going to increase it almost another 10%. And then again, like we've looked at this in the broad, like in the most extreme terms, and it's almost 50% if you also get them on a demo drive or a test drive. Right, so you bring that in, so they're coming in at almost 25%, and you're just incrementally adding things based on just small process pieces that you can put in just by making sure a manager is validating the reason why they visited, and then actually having demoed a product, right, with someone that's passionate about what they're looking at. So that 39.5 is more of a blend of like total, like kind of a blend of data that Dealer Knows and Next Up did together, but it's still really, really high when they're walking in, as long as you're hitting your foundational points of visit.
Correct. Yeah, I mean, one way or the other, customer walks in. Typically, for the most part, they're walking in to buy a car. I know some of you have explored online sales or full online sales, but typically they have to step foot on your showroom floor in between your 4 walls to buy the majority of cars you have. And once they do that, 39.5%, that number obviously goes up the more appointments you set.
Yep.
Appointments close twice as high, no matter what. If your show closing rate is 30%, then your closing rate with a appointment should be 60.
Yeah, especially on those, and make sure you look at your appointment shown data, just not the appointment set data, right? How many are coming in. And finally, I'm a test drive. You're in the right spot all along. Let's give him a hand. He was in the right spot. I'm a test drive. 46%. So I sort of blew that because we haven't done this in a while, but that was that math I was talking about, is like when you come in and you can get them in the store visit and get them to the demo drive, it still matters. I know that people are talking about, well, you know, there's more shopping online, more people are buying their cars online.
Carvana doesn't.
And I get it, and there's a long game happening with those companies, and there's a reason why they're doing what they're doing. But still, only 10%. And I was talking to a dealer in Orlando just a couple weeks ago after I saw my friend Bill over there. So I was talking to Justin in Orlando, and he said, you know, it's still only 10% of people are actually purchasing the car online. That leaves 90% of that audience that's still coming in, that still sees value in a test drive. You know what I mean? Like, I admit, I did buy one house in my life that I never saw before I bought it.
So did we.
But I haven't done that ever with a car or any of my other houses because I learned on the house thing. But again, that like how many?
I love my house.
No, I totally dug it. Yeah. But you know what I mean? It was like I was far away when we bought it. However,
well, your wife has it now.
Yeah, exactly. Every my ex-wife loves our house. He's like, oh, so good. I'm so glad you made it. Anyways. But that is about the test drive, right? It is still the most important thing. And Clint from our company and our good friend Clint always says, like, it's that feel of the wheel seals the deal, right? It's just people need to get in it. People need to touch the car. People want to drive it. They're going to spend a lot of money. But you also can use that time to build that customer experience, to actually build a rapport with them that actually gets them maybe past warranty in their service visits, maybe recommends, like we said, like, yeah, friends and family aren't maybe not a big deal in this, but still, it's all of these little pieces that all come together by just sitting with someone in a car, being passionate about selling it and getting them behind the wheel to drive it.
And where this just comes to an actionable tactic, as I've been training, I've always said my favorite thing to, and I teach this whether it's a green pea or somebody who's been selling for 40 years, my favorite thing to ask somebody, whether they're online or in the showroom, is, have you had the chance to test drive the vehicle?
Right.
Statistically, 85% of people have not test driven the vehicle they're there to see. They visit 2 dealerships nowadays before buying a car, 2 dealerships, and I submit to you those are not 2 of the exact same brand dealerships. They're looking at considering the Honda or the Toyota, so they visit both. They don't go to 2 Hondas and 2 Toyotas. So I will tell you, teach your team every single time, have you had the chance to take a test drive? Why don't we go ahead and set that up? If it's on the phone, what time works best today or tomorrow? Or if they're in the showroom, you just facilitate that test drive. But always be asking if they have and give them that offer. The internet can give people anything nowadays. The internet can give you, if you're a car buyer, car shopper, it can give you features, options, specs, colors. It can give you
Video.
360-degree walk-around videos, what your bank rate's going to be, what your trade estimate is, what your payment's going to be. You can buy extended protection plans online now. What the internet has never figured out how to give you is the ability to put your butts in the seat of a car and drive one. And it's the one thing that dealers and your sales teams still have the ability to offer that they can't get online.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you very much. Okay, you guys, rip off your bibs, throw them at Jason. All right, so I'm going to get some more people up here, and I want to make sure we did this. What's that?
Who was late today?
We'll get them.
Oh yeah, so
around.
I want to go back to this for a second, yeah, because there's a reason we did this. So these are the ones we just looked at, right? I did a live chat, I took a test drive on an inventory listing site. It's interesting because let's pull out, this is like people in sites, in email and website, but then there's like showroom visit, got engaged by phone, sold, got engaged by email, did a live chat. Half of those were marketing and half of them were in store. Right? Half of them were the engine of the marketing and half of them were the actual visit. So remember, marketing always equals traffic, and your customer experience equals sales.
So
right?
in my opinion, you can have a kick-ass website, but that's not a customer experience. That's a website. In my opinion, a customer experience is once engagement happens, once that conversation starts, how they feel they were handled on the phone, how you communicated through email, whether or not they like the hygiene of the person next to them, how the customer shook hands, if they looked them in the eye, if they took them on the test drive, if they met the managers, the entire kit and caboodle, that's the customer experience. And then how to create a better customer experience is streamlining those processes and making it better for them.
I liked how everyone that just did that exercise is now eating and getting a drink. Like everyone's like, I'm done, I'm out. I had to stand up for 15 minutes. These bastards. All right, so there's a CX attribution model, and we're going to get into some more things, but as we looked at that, there's a bit of a model that we put together. We think it kind of works, and it's something that you can base once you start getting your own data. So that attribution model is engagement by email plus phone plus website, and that's the traffic, right?
Yes.
That traffic above. And then you divide it by the first impression, manager intro and test drive. So that is, again, that first impression, that's a 22% closing ratio.
It's not a science.
Plus
I'll
10.
say. This is not.
Yeah,
it's
plus
just
10
like,
plus
this
10.
shit looks good.
And then you minus that from your write-ups that equals your purchase. So take this back, try to figure it out. We figured it out last fall. I'm not going to try to figure it out again right now. But we know that once we put the numbers to this, it actually did work because manager intro and test drive add 15 to 20% off of a closing ratio of 22 coming in. So 22%, so if you go up to...
always have significantly more traffic online and engagement than you will customers in the showroom floor. It's natural. It's how those line up, what engagement took place online and what engagement took place in the showroom
so those
floor.
first impressions, the way to do that too is to go like, what's my walk-in count? How many manager intros did we do? How many test drives did we conduct? And then minus that from your write-ups.
Who believes their retail location has a good understanding of how many customers visited their store?
Anybody?
One?
Yeah.
Anybody else?
Right. Two, three?
Two, three?
Yep. Four?
You guys
Okay.
don't use the next up, do you? That wouldn't be fair.
No, they do. Yeah, they do.
So keeping a good count on how many people, so much data comes from that, understanding whether or not your team are grooming people, and one person is just burning through other too many opportunities. So you need to make your management or you aware of how much traffic do we have the opportunity to sell.
Okay. So I want to just ask you guys another question. Over the last year, what have you been focusing your efforts on most? Here's a list. Like based on this list, just shout them out as you get them. Like throw your hand up and tell me what
And
you've
then
been.
you just say, yeah, we might ask you how. Give me an example.
Yeah. Okay. Let me ask you how. Anybody? Who's focusing on any of this stuff? Anybody?
So you're right in front of them.
Sorry. Who just said? Customer experience and search marketing you've been focused on. Okay. In what ways? Like what? To get a bit more granular.
So going into dealers, better questions for the customers so we understand where we're spending our marketing dollars. This is your first visit to the dealership. How much time do we have today? We're going to accomplish a test drive today. So let's, give them that experience rather than, hi, what can I do for you?
Okay.
Right? Like leading the customer along.
All right. Over here, I know you've just took a mouthful of hummus and pita. CX. Okay. So for Drive Auto Group, what does that involve? Like, give me a high level. You guys are a big group. You got lots of stuff going on. But what's a sort of a mandate with that, focusing on CX? Give me one example. Training.
It's training.
Training.
From the top down, from our general managers, sales managers.
So is that an accountability play then on if everyone's getting trained, like it's the general managers are just as accountable for knowing what's going on? So it's like you guys don't get to go to NADA, get shit-faced, sign up for a bunch of software, and then drop it on everybody? Is that what you're saying? Oh, okay, okay, because that never happens.
Yeah.
That never
Hey,
happens.
you still got the next up.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. We only have one sweet party a year. But I get it. So, but that's what you're saying, though. The accountability is there from a training standpoint that everyone has to learn inside out, and that there's value there too. And I always do say this is the best person to show, with working with Next Up for the last 3 years and a bit. I always say Clint, our CEO, is the best person to learn the platform from because it came out of his brain. He learns it. He still goes out and does installs. He pilots new parts of the platform himself with dealers because he was the first guy going out in the field, selling it, setting it up, and helping people get it. So I think that's important that the leaders in any company or you guys that are managers or in your leadership team is you have to be ready for that. Anybody else focusing on anything? Like there's other people here that maybe are vendors, like anyone focusing on best product?
Well, nobody here has an opportunity to control best products. So from a marketing standpoint, like you really don't, you are limited, some cases handcuffed, if you have a inferior product versus a phenomenal product. So at the end of the day, you could say, how do we market this better? How do we learn it better, through training? How do we, and how do we then try to showcase that through the website? And then sort of guarantee, because he mentioned catfishing before, and I wrote a blog several years ago called Don't Catfish Your Customers.
Right.
Because the truth is, we've all gotten good at marketing. We've gotten damn good at making our websites look good, or our website providers have been able to make it look good, unless it's OEM approved websites. But we understand what a customer should experience, and we deliver to them online, and we answer their questions, and we set appointments for ourselves, and they come in and they do not get that same experience translated from online to in-store. So they come in with high expectations and they get catfish with low expectations because it's not what they
and I'm kind of surprised that no one, like everyone is always looking at the best lead provider. Everyone's focusing on your best lead provider. I get that. Christine, you get that. You hear it from the dealers. I'm not going to pick on you guys, but that is something that I think everyone focuses on, right? Because we need leads, and it's that weird dealer math is more traffic equals more leads equals more sales. But again, though, that it all will wrap into the next exercise we're going to do. So we have an 8-person face-off coming up.
So 8 people that did not get up the first time.
8 people that did not get up the first
most
time.
Most of the back row.
Yeah, all you guys in the back row.
No, not all, but all the back row. And
yeah, all you guys in the back row. You 4, come on up. 1, 2, yeah, you. Highland, come on. 8 person. I need 4 more people.
Brent set this up with his.
Yep. Here, I need.
I'm glad you put this in order. It makes it so much easier.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. I remember Las Vegas, Joe. All right. I answer slowly. I am the only one. All right. I got 4 there.
Yep.
And I need 4 more. Yeah. You guys come on up.
There, he's coming up.
Yeah. I got guys over here behind you, JP.
Look at him. He's like, I don't want to be alone, so he hits his buddy. He's like, come on.
Yeah.
If I got to do this.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
I look at him and that's the voice I give him.
2. I got 2. Yeah, 2
Perfect.
more.
There we go.
Give them to
There you
my
go.
Is that all of
manager,
them?
right?
Come all the way from London.
Yeah. I don't manage your intro. Yeah. I think so. Yeah, I'm good. All right.
No, Sean's still sold.
Yeah. Sean's a
He
sale.
threw his away, didn't he?
Do we want to bring these guys in here, or where do we want them?
What's that?
Well, are we doing the same thing? You still a sale? They're still lining up?
Yeah.
All right. Back it on up, Sean. All right, you guys get down there. Now, you guys have a couple minutes as well to do the same exercise, right? We want them to do the same exercise?
Exactly. How? Yeah, same thing. How much? What? I mean, it's more. The question is, we were going to do it a little backwards. No, we can do it. How did we set this one up? I don't remember. How much you influence?
How much you influence? Yeah. How much you influence the sale? So these are all the things that influence the sale, like,
Or in many cases, hurt the sale.
or hurt the sale.
Hurt the sale.
So figure out which is the most detrimental.
So the person
to the
that's
sale.
that hurts the sale the most, stand closer to Sean. Not that we want to see, but like if you hurt him more, stand closer to him.
Oh, so okay, yeah. So if you hurt the sale more, you get up to the sale here. If you're a positive, move the other way. Let's just figure it out. We'll give you guys a few minutes to figure it out.
The negatives are this.
The negatives are this way. Negatives this way. Negatives. If you feel your negatives.
No, that's only like 18 seconds.
You're not
No.
as negative.
That's all I got.
That's exactly 30.
Do we have customer up there? Did I forget one?
That's exactly 30 seconds.
Yeah, is it? Yeah.
That loop.
Right.
Oh, really?
Exactly 30.
I think I heard that because I started saying, I'm like, no, maybe it's 18. No, maybe it's 20. And maybe it's 15. I
Did
don't
we do
know.
it the right way?
I've got an uncle that's a referee. And
Oh,
every
really?
time a team calls a timeout, I'm at his head.
Oh, really?
So he knows
Could do
exactly
that.
30-second timeouts.
All right. Let's see what we got. Now that I know what I. Oh no. What, yeah.
backwards.
What do we do? You talk to this one.
Yeah, one more.
That's it.
All right, so,
Yeah, that's all we have for this.
okay, then fine. Either way. No. Here's the truth. I will tell you statistically, just like we showed you in the first setup, not test driving the customer will have the biggest impact as to determining whether or not they buy. Brent, what percentage of people buy a car if they do not test drive it?
What percentage? Oh, less than 1%.
So come on down, don't test drive.
Yeah.
You're right here.
Yeah. Don't
In
test
other words,
drive.
at least a customer in the
Yeah.
showroom,
Sit down, guys.
if a
Yeah.
customer comes
It's
in
like
the showroom and doesn't test drive,
1% or less
1%.
actually buy, and that data hasn't changed in 6 or 7 years.
Yeah,
It's
and
been
that's what you're
consistent.
doing. Yeah. Again, I think we're probably going to get this. Not answering a customer's calls or emails goes a long way. You will naturally sell. If you never touch anything, you'll sell about 1.5%. If you never call, never email them back, you'll sell 1.5%. Just because whoever the location guy was, because
Right.
guess what? You're close, and
Yeah.
you've got the car they want, and they choose you, whether or not they hear from you or not. They're not happy about it, but they'll still buy. So that has a major impact. Answering slow, obviously. In our industry, the average the average response time has gone down from 4 hours to 3 hours on average to buy a car. Response time is right around, I'm going to say, 50 minutes across the board. What customers believe it should take to buy a car, though, last data was they think they should be able to get in and out in 60 minutes. We went from 4 hours to 3 hours to get them out the door. They went down from their expectations being 90 minutes to 60 minutes. From a response time, they believe it should be almost immediate, under 10 minutes.
And I want
yet
you.
we're still
I
at
want
50.
you two to switch orders, because I only asked to get them in, and this is an old video that Joe did a long time ago, and this is sort of one of the worst things you can do on email or phone. Is just get them in, right? It's the same thing as about answering slowly. Like answering slowly is one thing, but just to pound a person to just get them in, when all you have to do is listen to them. You know, one of the things I say is like the most devastating piece of like marketing arsenal is the ability to listen to a customer and answer them. You know, and answer them as accurately, as correctly, and professionally as you possibly can. It does a lot, and so to just hammer them with just get them into the store, it's not going to do anything.
Without
in terms
providing
of-
any information, people know that they can call or just even the offer to talk to. Hey, great, when do you want to come in? Hey, I see you're interested in this, when do you want to come in? Without being able to provide any value, any incentive, any logical reasoning as to why an in-store visit is necessary, just offering to get them in just turns people off.
Yeah.
How different does the stats change from country to country?
I haven't measured Canada. I'd love to. I don't have that data. I'm sorry.
From just getting them in.
Was that from getting them in? Yeah, no, because there's no way for us to measure who just says just get them in, because
On
that would
that,
be
yeah.
we're not.
General, the stats that you have.
Yeah.
You're saying that people want to get in now in 60 minutes. Is that the same here?
Oh yeah.
in
No.
the
Sorry.
store.
That's
Yeah.
That's only in the States that I have that data, and that's Google data. Yeah.
What do they know?
The same here.
It's the same in Canada. Yeah, that's what I thought. It's pretty much the same.
They're almost identical stats. With last Google meetings, people want a faster experience. They don't want to be wasting their day. 60 minutes, they can be done.
Yeah. So Google Think Auto just happened up here, and they were saying
Okay.
the same thing.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
see
it was about
that.
60.
You were
All right.
there. Why didn't you step up for that question?
Who, me?
Yeah.
Oh, I was watching batting practice. I'm not even listening right now. All right, so I don't manage your intro. I'm great marketing. I answer quickly. So now we've got the right flow at the end. So I don't manage your intro. Now that could happen because maybe you're in a small store and you guys are spread out, so you kind of have to act on your own. Like I know smaller, remote, like Ontario stores that's just the way it is, and maybe you don't have that. But if you're not doing that as well, you're always just removing 10% off of that closing ratio every single time you're doing it. 5 minutes? Okay, we got 5 minutes to move through a lot of
Answer
stuff.
quickly. Move up one.
Yeah.
I believe, yeah, because great marketing plays a major role in how you're remembered. It doesn't play as big of a role as we believe it does in whether or not the customer buys a car from you. Answering quickly, is a tremendous amount. There's a great real estate, and I do very little in real estate, but there's a great real estate data which shows when a customer fills out a form field to speak to a broker about wanting to buy a house, 85% go with the broker that calls them first.
Right.
85%.
All right.
I mean, just a major benefit of getting a customer on the phone or engaged quickly.
Okay, great. And then we said we have great marketing, and I'm impaired.
Priced.
Oh, I'm priced extremely well. I thought you said I'm impaired. I can't really see because of the lights. But no, yeah, exactly. Give it time. So I'm great marketing, and I'm priced extremely well. And those go hand in hand, right? Like if you do have some good marketing out in place, if you've got things priced like extremely well, you are going to be a great asset to the sale. You're not necessarily going to be the father of the sale.
Yeah, I'm saying hurts them least. Well, then, hell, in that case,
yeah.
maybe I should have moved somebody around. I apologize.
It's okay.
I was
And Jason, if we go over it, we'll make his next session short. All right. There you go. So now that you have the data, what do you
now
want?
you can take a seat, right?
Yeah, you guys can take a seat. Thank you very much. Just give these guys a round of applause for doing the exercise. Just throw those around. So now that you have the data on that, and I don't know what we're talking about here, but like now that you've seen that, now that you've seen the exercise, what do you want to hang your hat on moving forward? Is it best customer experience, best website, product, search marketing, best lead provider?
Yeah. So I mean, what you've been focused on before, a lot of people have been focusing on their websites. A lot of people have been focusing on their marketing based on what's affecting the sale. The thing that you need to prevent from happening is bad CX, not test driving, not giving a manager introduction, responding slowly. Those are the things we need to nix very quickly.
Yeah. There's a couple on this. Like I think the top three are the most important, right? Like you want to connect your CX to your website to your product, right? You want to always make sure those are all connect. Like search marketing and lead providers, those are all great. Those are going to help you. But if you kind of keep that tie, it's like if you ever play around with AdWords, AdWords always says like the best case in writing a good AdWords is you write an ad about the dealership, you land them at a page with a title that like has copy from the ad, and there's copy and content on the page that tie into all it. Like everything ties together. So product, CX, and website, like it's just about the content and those things that you're putting out in the stories that people are telling and just the experience they're getting when people walk through the door. Tie all those together with your product. So marketing, though, is not the father of the sale. Like that's just something we want to deduct. It's important to focus on it, but it isn't going to be the be-all and end-all that does what it needs to do. CX is the father of the sale, and that's what we've always been preaching about. It is truly that in-store experience. You can market the crap out of everything. You can create content at the speed of light, which Jason's crew does. But again, it's in the store. It's working with people face to face. It's listening to people, and it's making sure that everything about the minute they walk through the door is all about them. You're not distracted with your phone. You're not distracted with a phone ringing. You're not looking at the door to see if a better customer is coming in or a bigger gross, or you don't have time for that first-time buyer who may not have a lot of money. Everybody is special, and you've got to make sure that they feel that way too.
So from an actionable standpoint, I urge you all to get together with your management team or your executive management team, just like in Toyota, you used to have Toyota signature meetings. So you would take one person from each department, get together, and really have brainstorming sessions to identify how do we input everything we would like to see exist at the dealership into specific policies, specific actions. Figure out what type of experience do we want to deliver? What does that equal? Does that mean a guaranteed test drive? Does that mean a VIP appointment where they can get in and out the door in 60 minutes once deals and numbers have been agreed upon? What does that equal? And start to identify what this needs to do, because that's how you train. You don't just train. In retail, I used to train twice every single week my entire sales team on product and twice every week on process. And everybody had to visit, no matter what, one product and one process every single week, or they were going to be in trouble. Most specifically by me, but in trouble nonetheless. And I will tell you, even training people and beating into them and working the desk,
just find me some
6 months it took before they started doing the little things like greeting people the right way and sitting them down in the right order and test driving them at the right time and making sure you're not just offering a test drive, but facilitating a test drive. And there's so many things that you need to say, these take place at these certain times, that you need to put it into action at your store.
All right, JP is getting us some people. So one of the things we want to talk about is it takes a village, as well as these crucial elements. So what we want to do is we just want to do, like, what do we call it? Was it the step up and step back we want to do with these?
Yeah,
our phone elements. Yep. So JP is just handing some out. As you get a bib, hey, come on, get your bib on, get up here.
I'm trying to remember it was 3.
Come on up. Bring your bib up.
1, 2,
We got 8 here.
3. Okay, no, it's 3. So of these 8, 3 of these play significantly more of a factor into determining whether or not a customer buys a car. 3 of you
So come
actually
on up.
play a
You guys
role.
come right up.
The other 5 are nice,
Come on up.
I think. Oh, maybe not.
Christine gets one. Christine, grab your bib. Come on up. So what we want you guys to do is we want you guys to work as a group and figure out really quickly. We're going to give you guys, we're going to give you guys
10 seconds, 20
We're going to
seconds.
give you, we're
Then
going to
one's
give you
out.
15 to get up front, and then
Yeah.
figure it out.
So
I want
of
you guys
the
to
8, 3 step forward, and the other step back so we can read you.
Yeah, come on over here. So, yeah, 5 of you will stay back, 3 will stay up. I want you all up, right? So I've got.
What's the question that we're answering?
So 3. Which are the 3
We've got
most
5 up
important?
there, you know.
3 most important things to getting closing a deal.
Did you put
Yeah.
in another one?
No.
I confirm appointments.
Oh, maybe I got one extra one in
Yeah,
there.
you wrote one yourself. You literally wrote one yourself that was not on my list.
Did I? I thought I was right. It was on the list. Yeah.
Well, either way, I read his, so I know he's not 7 up. He's just texting while he's up there, totally disconnected.
You remember what you want, right? For this
Yeah, I
one?
know.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, what 3 do you feel, again, these are all based on,
So the 3 that you think, give me the 3. Give me the 3 you think. Give me the 3 you think over here.
oh, the 3
What
that
are we
have
talking
the biggest,
about?
the 3 that have the biggest impact on whether or not a customer buys a car from a
phone.
sale.
From a phone sale.
phone lead,
Phone
sorry.
sale. Just give me 3. Give me 4. Give me one more. I'll take 4.
See, again, they're all good,
I'll
but,
take
there-
4.
but only 3 actually
I'll take 4.
and a lot of it is have a statistical way to be measured. So
All
look
right,
at it that
you
way.
do. So, all right,
you need to have a
Joe?
statistical way to measure it.
So Joe, I confirm appointments. I have a great greeting. I overcome objections. I answer questions. Is the 4 you guys pick? No metrics. No, stand over here because there are going to be metrics.
Okay,
You guys
so-
move over. Like, give me the screen here. You
So
stay
I'll tell you,
there.
think of
Yeah,
what can
yes.
and cannot be measured
Snug over. So that's what you-
inside the average CRM. It is almost impossible to measure or not whether or not somebody answers the customer's questions.
I set an appointment. Who's got I set an appointment? Someone has that? I set an appointment. 78% of sold callers set an appointment. So he was important.
So
I confirm an appointment. I confirm it? Yeah, Christine was over there. So you get over here. So Christine was right. 82% of sold callers set an appointment. I capture contact info. Oh, behind me?
So if
Yeah.
somebody
You
calls
come over
and they're
here.
going to buy,
I
again,
have a
if
great
somebody
greeting. You
calls
got
and they're
them
going
over
to buy, roughly 80% of all these people
You guys come over here.
have given
I
out their
have a
contact information. Brent?
Yeah. Bill, you're over here.
It's not an order, Bill. It's not an order. Yeah, I just want to, these 3. Just so you understand, roughly 80% across the board. So 78 on 2, 82 on the other.
Yeah.
If a phone caller is going to buy a car at all, they've given out their contact information and it's been logged into the CRM. They have a set appointment for them in the CRM, and that appointment's been confirmed. All those other things, have a great greeting, excellent. But people get sold and determined not to all the time, even if you have a bad one. All those things are nice to have, except for the one guy who says, I put a customer on hold too long.
Exactly.
Only one guy's about,
Someone said I put someone on hold?
Yes, right there in front of you.
Oh yeah.
But I will tell you,
manager.
if
Yeah,
you-
you're a complete jerk. Yeah.
When trading phones,
So, I'm
the little
worst.
things
You have to
things
keep your
matter.
bib on the whole day.
The overcoming objections matter. The great greeting matters. But what matters the most are these 3 people.
All right.
Are capturing customers' contact information.
All right, give these guys a hand. You guys get lost. All right. We're gonna. You know what? I'm gonna. Let's just do this one and we'll wrap it.
Yeah, well, keep going. Yeah, are we going along on time? What do we got?
Yeah.
Where are we at?
We got email elements. We got store elements. You want to do showroom elements?
That's yours. Yeah, do it.
All right, let's do show. Hey, sorry, PJ. Take all those bibs back.
I'll take all those bibs back.
Yeah.
Take all the bibs back.
Take all those bibs back. I think these are. I don't know, to my manager.
Brent's getting impatient.
I write up. Are these the same? I don't know what these are. Wait a minute.
These are all, this is Brent's one.
I don't talk
That's
numbers.
why
Are
this
these-
is,
oh no, yeah. These are the ones you want to give out.
Okay.
Get rid of those. We're gonna do showroom because email and the phone, they're kind of the same. All right. So we just need, we need 10 people. 10 people to come up, and we're gonna do the same thing because I want to. What, we top 3 in it again? Top 3, top 4.
Yeah, you were the top 3.
Top 4.
Oh, was it?
Maybe top 4.
Again, this is your data. I could just sit down. I'll
Yeah,
dive
top
in.
4. Here, take that. That's for you. I know, exactly. I feel really full. We got 2 more people. Everyone with a bib, come on up. We're going to make this real quick. Poor Jason, we're going over time.
Are
But
we?
this
We're
is-
not, we're not. We haven't hit an hour yet.
Yeah,
have we?
how bad are we, Harris? Are we
We haven't
over?
hit an hour.
We're right at an hour? Good. I'm going to make you sweat it out then. I'm going to go over it. Yeah, exactly. You know, if I have to watch all your videos, I'm going over time. Huh? Yeah. All right. You're back up. Okay. Same exercise, you guys. I want you guys, this is the showroom experience, right? So I want you guys to figure out as a group which 4 come over to this side of the room and which stay back. So I'm going to give you guys like 30 seconds. 30 seconds to figure out which 4.
No. This is all his
Oh,
data. So
not email elements. Sorry, showroom elements. Yeah. Oh, wait a minute. Do they got the right ones? I'm a manager intro. I write up.
I see a test drive.
Great reading, yeah.
Am I okay?
No.
No, I'm not.
you messed
We have the
up.
wrong bibs. Doesn't matter.
Here, why don't you just sit everybody down and go through your data?
Yeah. All right, we're good. We got some people up there. So we got manager intro. No, you know what? I screwed up. We got the wrong bibs. I'm response time. But what do I got? I got manager intro. I got
You know,
test drive.
You
Those are
order
okay.
them exactly like this.
I got
and
write up,
they-
which I'll
they mess
go
up
and
the
talk to
orders.
numbers.
We got it right.
It'll be close. All right, we're all right. We'll do it this way. I work a managed floor. You'll be a managed floor. So you're correct. So working a managed floor over an open floor. How many stores?
Can you explain a managed floor?
Yeah.
for
So
someone?
how many people here have open floor? Right? People
Open
just
floor
come in.
is anybody can work with any customer that comes onto the lot.
Yeah. Anybody that walks in, open floor. Like anybody that just comes in, anybody's customers, right? Take it.
JP.
Okay. Thanks, JP. Managed floor is just the opposite, right? You have greeters. Who runs a managed floor? Understands what a managed floor is. People come into the dealership. There's a rotation either done on a board, clipboard, or next up a platform. Very easy, but that way it's just there's someone to greet staff as they come in. 25 to 80% increase of log showroom traffic when you have a managed floor. And that's important because a lot of managers talk about, I don't have the right coverage. And again, it's one of those things going, yeah, we have a lot of traffic, but you don't know how many walk-ins. If you're not even putting people in a simple rotation, you're not understanding how many people are walking in, your opportunities, your appointments, your B-backs. So those are really important things to have happen, especially as the market slims down, because one of the things we're seeing in our data right now is from walk-in traffic from 2018, and I just released a mid-year report, 2018 to 2019, there's a 15% reduction. Did you see that in the mail I sent out today? Yeah, and so on a managed floor, though, what they're doing is, so instead of waiting out on the point for customers to walk in, which is like really an epidemic in the States, like when warmer climates, it's just like get out on the lot and wait for customers to walk in. Dealerships.
I'd love to take up smoking just for an extra 10 breaks every single day.
Exactly, the amount of breaks. So when you think about that, there's a 15% drop in walk-in traffic. However, the stores that are getting their staff the time to work the CRM, work referral, but like get on the phones, as Joe was saying, like build rapport with their customers, they've actually increased their appointments shown, not appointments booked, appointments shown by almost 17%. It's up. So that's really telling that even though traffic's doing this, the stores that are actually making sure their staff are utilizing their time, just not standing around going, wow, things are really slow. It's like, when's the last time you logged into a CRM? And there's people like Brandon here that help stores like understand the better ways to use those. What's that?
Visit the service department.
Yeah, visit the service department again, because your biggest revenue center is still cracking out a lot of revenue, and there's so many opportunities. Thank you, Christine, in the service drive for that too. So a walk-in, you're a walk-in. Yeah, I'm a great greeting, so you're a walk-in. Walk-ins close again with the manager intro and a test driver completed on their visit was a whopping 43%. Like that's huge that you can close someone with just a few simple things that you're enacting in the showroom elements.
Really,
And-
two things. Just
yeah,
two
and-
things. Making sure a manager introduces themselves before the test drive. Something as simple as, hi, I'm a manager. I'm excited you're going to go look at this vehicle. Can you do me a favor? when you come back, can you come and tell me how you liked it or what you didn't like about it? Because that gives the onus no longer on the salesperson to figure out what it takes to get them in. Hey, let's go tell my sales manager what you felt about this vehicle.
That's right.
So one way or the other, try to use an early manager introduction before the test drive and a test drive. Those two things alone take you from what Brent said was an average in the industry, 23%, up to a 43%.
Yeah, and more time for sales associates to follow up and work on appointment setting with the dealership CRM system. That just brings that up to 45%. Like anytime you got anything locked into an appointment, it's going to be sky high. Other showroom elements is, I think we have a manager intro right there. So 35% introduction closed walk-ins compared to industry standard of 14%. So that's just basically saying that is the industry standard on walk-in close is 14%. We see it at 22 on ours with a rotation with people greeting people as they come into the showroom. But that 35%, it goes up to 35% with manager introductions. So we have a write-up, proposals, 50% of showroom opportunities at test drive, and get a manager intro will purchase the vehicle. Because if you've done that much, they're going to sit down and they're going to want a proposal. If you get them behind the wheel of a car, they're going to want to sit down and talk numbers. It's just, and again, we talked about this earlier. I test drive, so 1% of showroom prospects that do not go on a test drive will actually purchase the vehicle. And that number never changes. It's the most consistent piece of our data in almost the 12 years that we've been collecting showroom data is that 1% that do not drive will purchase that vehicle. It's next to nothing. So if you got someone on staff saying they don't want to drive that car, that's the numbers you're setting yourself up with. You know, you're not lending yourself to win or add some people to your roster, your clientele roster. Thank you guys. Grab a seat. Perfect. No, you keep them. Bring them home. Wear them in the car. You know, you'll need them later for the hummus over there. So you just can't make a baby, right? You have to raise the baby. I don't know what that means. I really don't.
No, I wrote a blog about that.
Was that yours?
Yeah, I wrote a blog about that. So, because in other words, I think
No,
the
I know
biggest thing is what Brent and I, and I'm really fortunate because Brent's one of my best friends, and we've been able to speak together now a couple times. And I think so many people put things into place, do not follow up with them. It's one thing to generate the marketing. It's one thing to train one time and set some expectations, but without a level of accountability, without a level of a guaranteed customer experience that you're trying to deliver, without those things in writing and constantly reinforced, you're throwing your money away and you're doing a disservice not just to your bottom line, but to the people that you employ as well.
Right. And our exercise with that, and thank you everybody for helping us do that today, because this was just a refresher of what's important when you're at the store, right? Again, just working as a group and figuring that out together, and that's why we like this session so much, is we just work together to do a bunch of simple things to just remind us what to focus on and what to look at when we go back. Are they opening up the roof now too?
Yes,
this is
they are.
so kick-ass. All right, thank you guys very much. That is the end of the first session. Good job. Good job, everybody. Are we good? Good, Pete, do you need this?
You want mine off?
No, I just.
No.
No, you guys can take a seat. Hey, listen.
Phone? Yeah. No. No, I don't. I think my phone's over there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Just take a look at it.
Sure.
I'm just going to take a look.
Well, can everybody hear me? Yep. Do I need a mic, or is that just for the
So
videos?
we're
Yeah, we
gonna
do need it.
take
Just 1
2
second.
minutes. We're just gonna reset for 2 minutes. I'm gonna speak for a couple seconds.
And does anybody have any questions for us whatsoever? And we'll do that. While they
Check
get
1 2
up
1 2.
and
Check
while
1 2
you
1
guys
2.
set up.
Check 1 2 1 2. Are you getting feedback? You getting feedback?
Don't be shy. Come up to us after.
Check 1 2 1 2. Check 1 2.
There was something like about your bib, or you need a new bib, or you
Check
want
1 2
another bib.
1 2. Check 1
Miss
2.
your bib. Just ask.
I said, he's like, how many bibs do you need? I said, 54. He's like,
Testing
"Yeah,
1 2
so I
3.
ordered
Test
50."
test test 1 2 3.
No,
Test
no,
test
dude, you
test
said
1 2 3.
34. Let's just.
Said 34.
Yeah. There you go.
So let's give a big round of applause, Brent and Joe.
Am I going off this machine?
You can go off this machine.
How about you guys?
Test
Let me
1
set
2
up for you.
1
I'm
2.
just
can
going to
use
talk for just a couple seconds
Test
about
1
some
2
stuff.
1 2.
First off, you guys been leaving bathrooms, women's bathroom by Serena Williams, and just around the corner there is men's
Test
bathroom.
1
You
2.
don't have to leave.
Test 1 2. Test test.
Well-
Test 1 2.
For you and me. Yeah. There's your thing down there. So, as you know, a lot of you know me, a lot of you don't. I'm really into community and building the community through networking. So I'm going to do, again, hands up who've been here before. Okay, so not a lot of you have been here before. It's great. hands up for anyone not on LinkedIn. Good. Everyone get their phone out. Okay. Log into LinkedIn. You will have to log in for this. All right. Oh, funny. Jason Harris is there.
My thing's there.
So
He's buying Everett breakfast.
he's buying Everett breakfast again. What I want you to do, is everyone logged in? Raise your hip phones when everyone's logged in.
Download the app.
Okay, download the app. Cool. So at the bottom, you have your little thing, your network guy, right? Click on your little network guy, right? Find nearby. Very top, click find nearby. This is really important because we have a room full of professionals, vendors, Joe, Brent, myself, Jason, who are connected. You want to put find nearby, and you'll light up everyone in the room. If you're not connected to them, send a request. It's really important. Not only are we resources for you, guys to use, reach out to, but you'll have a lot of peers in this room, potential job opportunities if you're not happy where you're at. And it's true, 85% of jobs are filled through networking.
Yep.
Go figure.
How about this?
So
Keep talking. Check, 1, 2.
the biggest thing is,
Microphone, check it.
so I don't see a lot of people on. Why aren't you guys on? You ever figure out who needs help? Raise your hand.
I just posted a job.
There you go. There you go. Go on Find Nearby, and it should radiate. Everyone should populate there. I only see 2 people, Christine and Andy. Is anyone having trouble?
JP, never mind.
So the reason this is really important, and you can look like a rock star at a conference. You go to a conference and you're talking about like, hey, everyone, just do this. Everyone's like, wow. Now business cards are becoming less and less relevant as networking includes. Bill Schomburg and I met online several years ago, and we've been in touch ever since. First time I've met Bill in person. He's come up from the States to do it. So it's really important that you do this and not only connect with people, have real conversations. The one thing about LinkedIn that's kind of funny, and it's really funny who the trolls are, because you go on LinkedIn and, hey, my name is so-and-so. Have you had trouble with your plumbing? Let me sell you something. Okay? Those are not good conversations. Reach out to someone, ask them about what they do, have a real depth conversation, and respond. Anyone that connects with you, respond. You don't have to accept every connection, but it's really important that you learn. Don't sell, don't tell, share. That's what community does. Communities grow faster, much faster together. All right? Another networking hack for you guys who are having trouble doing. Anyone having trouble doing this? Pretty quiet? No? All right. So that's one area. Also, who thinks they're a LinkedIn guru? Who owns LinkedIn? They know how to work. Yeah. Okay. So go to at the top you have your little guy, your own profile. Click on that. View profile, right? So go to your own profile. Everyone raise their phones when they're at their own profile. Okay, cool. Scroll all the way down to the bottom of your profile. All the way down to the bottom. What do you see? Yeah, why is there people there? Yeah, so guess what those people are? They're your competitors in the business field. You're advertising for someone else. You're advertising for someone else. On the phone, it's the bottom of your profile. On the computer, it's actually right beside your profile. There's a feature in this in your settings. You can turn it off. Why is it important to turn it off? Because you're advertising for your competitors. If I need a car salesperson, insurance, plumbing, whatever, someone that's similar to you is listed there. What is the percentage of people coming back to your profile once they click off to somebody else? Anyone know? 5%. And they usually find it because they're on the other guy's profile and you're on theirs. All right? It's really important. So during the breaks, as we go on, I can give you guys some LinkedIn hacks to really push it up. And I know it's a big thing. It's been a big thing for my career. It's let me meet people like Joe Webb and like Brent and like Bill and like Serge, people that have really influenced my career. So during the break, what we'll do, anyone has questions, wants to maximize their LinkedIn, just come see me. We'll chat. As always, appreciate you being here. Who had a good time? Say aye. Aye. Thank you. Obviously, Joe Webb's coming back up. Give him a huge round of applause because he was in a car for 13 hours for you. There you go. Joe.
So I'm not going to make you stand. I'm just going to launch into this, but I'm going to use probably 45 minutes of the hour to make Brent really huff through his. So we're going to talk about whether or not your sales team is making the grade, and I'm going to get through the introductions because he already introduced me, but I'm going to take everybody to school a little bit and share with you some of the things that we've been able to extract, not just data-wise, but actionable-wise, to help people who here, I don't know all your roles, but is involved in some aspects of the variable ops or sales side of an industry. For the most part, most everybody, good. So we're going to go over through biology and chemistry. We mix those together. Why? Because it is just easier for me to do it that way. Computer lab, mathematics, language arts will burn through this. So one thing that I'm sure Jason knows as well as I have, I started this deal knows about 2008, even if I was training my own sales team before that, going out and training others. What I've learned is, sadly, you can lead a horse to water, you can't make him drink. We can give you all the templates, all the processes, all the skills, but it is entirely up to you or your team to click the mouse, to pick up the phone, to make the call. There's no one there, there's no product there that lets me zap somebody yet and force them to do these things. Trust me, I'd invent it if I could. But because of that, I'm a big believer in we need to be more responsible with how we hold our teams accountable. There are a lot of people in this industry with the title of manager that do not understand how to manage their staff. They've been given that title because they were good at selling cars. Their manager that trained them said, well, Jimmy is a lot like me, so you should just promote Jimmy. Just because you know how to sell a lot does not mean you are good at managing people. So there are a lot of different type of people that we employ, and I believe that there's no magic bullet, not in marketing, not in process, not anything. If there was a perfect template, I would have already invented it myself and I'd be sitting on a beach. So with that said, the one magic bullet is your people. How you train your people, how you orientate your people from the get-go, where you find them, how you recruit them, how you interview them, and we're going backwards here, but your people. Because we all have 4 different type of people. Number ones are those brilliant minds that we see that are able, when it comes to handling internet leads or handling calls, handling leads, they're able to respond back to customers in under 15 minutes right away. They send extremely engaging emails. They go ahead and methodically make phone calls and send texts ongoing, including videos. They know how to build value in the product, in the process, in themselves. So there's a few different things you can build value on, and they know how to set appointments and confirms them. Those are the best, the consistent people that do it quickly, ongoing. The next step is sort of an honor roll student, which everybody has usually one of these in their store. And these are people that respond in an hour or less, which, as I said, is industry average, an hour or less. They do know how to send some worthwhile emails, or they have those built into their CRM. They do include some pricing. They do attempt a few calls and texts out to these customers before giving up on them. They build some value and they set some appointments. Maybe they don't always confirm them. Then there's Joe Average, a phrase I hate, by the way. Or Joe Schmo, I also hate that one. But Joe Average, 1 to 4 hour response time to their internet opportunities. They maybe send a few emails. They're very inconsistent with whether or not they attach pricing to those things. Is that my wife? And they build very little value. I got it. Yeah, it's fine. And then the last is the slacker. And unfortunately, as I go around and train dealers, we have a lot more of these people that just sit back and play on their phones. I came from a dealership in, but not myself. I was at a dealership 4 days ago, in Cleveland, Ohio. And I swear, a woman on the service BDC, I was going to see how long she'd let it go. She watched, when I tell you, 5 hours of telenovelas instead of making outbound calls. And I'd ask her, like, what you watching there? And she'd be like, oh, no, it's just my favorite stories, you know? And I'd say, great, you know? But the manager's scared because managers are so scared to, like, piss off their employees anymore, to correct people, to slap hands. So we let these things go. It's hard to find good help these days. That's not good help. Everybody else is either listening to a podcast, watching a YouTube video, texting on their phones. Work is not being done because this has all made this a me generation. And yes, we can conduct work off of this. I will tell you, when you see your teams with this in their hands, they usually are not doing it. So we all have those that are slow to respond. They rely too much on automated emails. They play with their phones too much. They maybe call one time. And I will tell you, as we monitor how thoroughly people are following up with their leads in the CRMs, this is becoming a lot more, not once training and accountability is put in place, but this is a lot more commonplace than you'd like to admit. So again, we need to slap some hands and crack some knuckles if we want to get our teams better. So in computer lab, just basic data. Everybody here has a CRM, right? Good, perfect. Not all CRMs are, somebody throw out some of your CRMs. 180, Jesus. The fact that you call that a CRM. Anything else? Vin Solutions, what is it? Auto Agent? See, I'm not even familiar with that. I'm sure. Dealer Socket. Any others? All right. So not all CRMs are created equal. I heard one good one. I heard a few other not so good ones. So regardless, I will say your CRMs need to do a lot of things for you. You need to have these things completely fleshed out by a professional in your store or by the vendor themselves, though they give really cookie cutter built-in processes. They have distribution follow-up funnels. They have email templates that suck, phone scripts that suck. You really need to come together and figure out what type of content do we need going out to customers. We spend so much time understanding what our ad budget is for paid search and such little in what emails are going out to customers that make us sound like idiots, that it doesn't make any sense. So we need processes built out for not just pre-sale, everybody has pre-sale, post-sale, lease retention, every single different event. That needs to be built out with smart methodologies built into it. You need to have push-pull integration into your DMS, which is required. Hopefully your CRM has some level of desking and not a separate desking tool that they're using. And you should be able to alert your team with your CRM every single time, not just a lead arrives, but when a text arrives, when a customer replies back to a response already out there, because timing is of the essence. So I will tell you, you cannot just have one person ideally in your store that's an internet director or a BDC manager that has to oversee all this for the store. Your sales managers, good CRM utilization is fully driven by sales management. If sales management only has YouTube, ESPN, and ESPN.ca, and their DMS with their desking tool open, which is all they have, then they are not focusing on what their team is doing. They are not holding their team accountable at all. So how do you hold people accountable when it comes to live chat? How are you handling your live chat? We already talked about that. If it's managed, then hopefully that managed company is handling that quickly. If you're doing it in-house, you really need to be, and I think JP said he was going to do it in-house, you have to be so super focused on how those leads are handled both on and off hours. Are you texting your customers? I already said that we know that Canada has very difficult SMS texting rules in place, or laws, so to speak. But I will tell you, text is an insanely valuable tool, and yet I also think people are completely taking advantage of it. I go into CRMs and I see people will have not made a phone call attempt, but they will have asked the customer to opt into text 6 times. Because God forbid they actually have a conversation with somebody. Hell, that's exactly what they're trying to avoid. They're scared of the back and forth. So we need to find a way, when it comes to texting these people, that it's able to be done legally, compliant, but it's done for the right reasons at the right times. Hopefully I would not be here in front of you today if it weren't for the videos that I started creating. I was doing stupid videos, and you don't have to do that. But I was doing videos, the craziest, weird, to exercise my demons in a cathartic manner, fun videos to customers back in 2004, maybe even earlier than that. The fact that dealers still haven't adopted videos to customers, because I will tell you, it's great to hear what a person sounds like. You can pick up a lot from them. It's great to see what they write like, but you can't really ever pick up on tone really well in written word. but most specifically, if they can see a visual representation of you, not just your picture, your voice, your mannerisms, and put it all together, that is when you start endearing yourself as an individual to the customers, and it's a great skate protector, because no longer do they want to just come in and work with anybody. They want to come in and work with Rob. They want to come in and work with Adam. They only want to work with the person that they have visualized themselves working with in advance. So from a mathematical standpoint, again, we look at a lot of data inside of a lot of different CRMs, and we did a big, so if you see VinSolutions here, we did do a big joint white paper with VinSolutions where we got all lead data from them over the course of, I think it was 3/4 of an entire year from throughout North America, Canada, the States as well, all mixed in, and some basic HubSpot data. The average open rate, so if you send out 100 emails, HubSpot says only 32% are getting opened, 32%. Our clients, because I'm a big believer in plain text. I don't like the big, pretty banner across the top, formatting HTML. Get rid of all that crap. You can do that for email blasts. Stop doing it from your team. Down with the headers. Immediately remove. You know what happens when you get an email from a real corporation? Where is the company's logo? It's not blasted across the top unless it's a Kohl's catalog email. It is in the signature line, which is where yours should be. Autoresponders. Autoresponders are stupid. Well, when I say autoresponder, there's two things. Autoresponder, to me, is that one email that goes out the moment a customer submits a lead. And then there's automated emails. Automated emails, good. Autoresponders, usually sucky. Because most autoresponders just say something to the effect of, how you doing? This is ABC Motors. Just want to let you know that we know that you submitted something and we'll get back to you in 24 hours or less. And it serves no value. Like, nobody ever clicks anything and says, I wonder if they got that. I'd really like it if they sent me something automatically with no value whatsoever, letting me know. No, nobody says that. So unless you're going to send an immediate autoresponder with smart questions that'll elicit an immediate response and looks personal, like it was sent from a human being, there's no use doing it. But that would be the only reason to use an autoresponder, because our autoresponder gets over about 24% reply rate or response rate. The average for all VinSolutions dealers, and we're saying, you know what, 14,000 now, yields a 2% reply to autoresponders. For a reply rate in total, and this is not just your first email, this is all emails going out from the CRM, I will tell you, we are not asking enough questions in our emails. Everything is, thanks for your inquiry, my name's Joe, I'm going to be the one helping you. These are a great vehicle, give me a call as soon as you're ready, I look forward to hearing from you soon, I'm happy to assist you, thanks. No question. Too often, just want to make sure you're receiving the emails, give me a call as soon as you're ready, thanks. If there are any questions, and I'll get to it later, we're asking the stupidest questions in our email. So start using smart questions, increase the reply rate. Little hint, the more people you reply with, the better off you are going to be at connecting with them, engaging with them, setting the appointment, selling the car. An unfortunate statistic we see as we measure people is the average salesperson that receives an email inquiry only makes 2 calls over the course of the first 8 days of a lead's life. And I want to explain this another way. Only makes 2 calls. Well, either way, yeah, they don't reach on 2 attempts. The average amount of call attempts it takes, and we didn't share the data before, to end up with a customer setting an appointment is 6 calls. Yeah, 6. And it might be 5 for you, but I love that you measure the data. Oh, really? Yeah, I mean, even if we build out 10 calls for a salesperson to make, I know it's going to take 6 before that appointment gets set statistically back and forth, and then 2 are made. This is killing our ability to set more appointments. And here's the craziest part. These are people that know my team is watching them and counting, and they make 2. So appointments, again, we are not enforcing enough appointments set. I remember when I was a manager, and the sales team would never have any appointments. And I'd pull people together on a Saturday meeting, and I'd say, $20 for every single set appointment that you can deliver to me in the next hour. And then sales guys will actually go through the list, make calls, and schedule 2, and come up and like, hey, got 2, boss. Hey, $40. And it's like they won the lottery. And they don't realize that more than likely, if 2 people show up for you, guaranteed 1 buy. That's the data. I sold them a car but they're like, they hit the, it looks like I'm getting Shoney's for lunch. Like, so I urge you, reinforce at all times. You don't always have to incentivize these because this is their job. But I will tell you, reinforcing appointments across the board, not just from your BDC. We hold our BDCs and our internet salespeople so accountable appointments. How many appointments you got? How many appointments you got? Meanwhile, the salespeople are just sitting there playing on their phones, watching, God knows what on YouTube. So what's good for the goose is good for the gander. The BDC is required to pick up the phone and make calls. So is the salespeople. Yet that doesn't happen. The average BDC, in at least the state's data, was 23 calls. The average BDC makes 23 outbound calls. Not enough. Should be 50 to 60, not 120. This doesn't need to be a call center in Bangladesh. It should be making 50 to 60 good quality calls. The average salesperson makes under 5. Under 5 calls a day. They work 60 hours a week and they make under 5 calls a day. So anyway, and I'll blast with that also. In regard to your processes, I submit to you that your team never needs to call a new lead. Call. You can have automated emails, but call after 30 days. Period. Statistically, the majority are going to sell. If they sell it all in 6 months, 100% may have bought in 120, but I'll tell you 30%, 90% have bought in the first 30 days. And I know from the hot tub industry, it's a much longer buying cycle, but nonetheless, in automotive, if somebody buys after day 30, it's because they have submitted another lead. It's not because we called them on day 60 and asked, you still interested? And they're like, woo, hoot and holler, yeah, we are. No, nobody does that. Nobody cares. Nobody answers the phone that late anyway. So anytime we send anything to our customers through email correspondence, it needs to do one of two things. It needs to either elicit contact or it needs to build value. As I said, we can build value in a lot. We can build value in ourselves as an individual with video, with why buy from me's. We can build value in the dealership with why buy from us's and value propositions. We can build value in the process. This is exactly everything I'm willing to do for you in advance, and all the research and all the buying that you can do in advance before coming into the store and completing the sale. And we can build value in the product. I mean, I've taken the ridiculous amount of time of looking up good reviews from reputable sources on every single make and model sold, period, short of Ferrari. I've never had to do Ferrari. But because nobody will say, every salesperson will say, oh, that's a really great car. They don't believe that. We're salespeople. They don't believe a damn thing we say. But if Auto Trader and KBB and US News and World Report and Motor Trend and Car and Driver and Left Lane News and Auto Week and all these approved, credible sources say good things about it, put together individual templates for each and every unique make and model you sell. So, and he can distribute this deck later, but I've built out, if you use an autoresponder, a plain text autoresponder, what needs to be there and what it looks like, but it needs to be short, and I'll just give you 2 things. It needs to ask a couple quick questions, and my favorite question, as I said, have you had the opportunity to test drive? I always want to open up people's range of considerations. One thing we do too much is we try to drill people down onto one car on the phone and email or one product, rather than actually opening up the range and figuring out what are all the different ones you're considering, because then it gives you a lot more that you can invite them in to look at. My apologies. Not look at. I never train anybody to look at anything. You can look at crap online. You can see it online. You can check it out online. Everybody says, sell the appointment, not the car. That's stupid. Who likes scheduling appointments? God damn, I can't wait until I make a couple calls today and schedule an appointment for myself. No. If you never had to schedule an appointment to see a doctor, oh, I don't know if you guys do. This is the state's problem. Because otherwise it'd be like, I'm sick. So you guys beat us terribly on that in that regard. But with that said, I will say nobody likes setting appointments. I don't believe in inviting people in to look at stuff. I invite them in for actionable information. A test drive, a trade appraisal, a credit approval, the purchase. I say something actionable that they will be accomplishing there, because rather than just checking it out or talking about it. And again, first response, I will have him give it out so you can see everything that we recommend in a first response. But these things need to be short. The average consumer nowadays only reads the subject line. We already know so few people open it. So in the subject line, and I did write, I just like the customer's first name there. So if you use a CRM that does not allow you to put in a customer's first name in the main box dealer socket, but I'm not going to mention any names. But if God forbid, if you see your name there, you know it's even slightly personalized for you. And the product. Try to get away from using your dealership name in the subject line, because in Gmail that all goes in the promotions tab. They know as soon as you attach a Toyota, Honda, Chevy, Ford, any of those things, Nissan, it goes into the promotions tab. So go away with just the product name, not your dealership name, the product name by model. What I like to say, like perfect thing would say, Sean dash your Corolla info. Something as simple as that, that will get through spam if it's plain text every single time. Even replying back to a customer. We cannot just answer customers' questions. We always need to be asking questions on top of our response back to them, and having, trying to offer additional information above and beyond that. I'm going to try to burn through this so I can get Brent up here because he's better. But there's 4 things I hear people saying over and over, and we've got to strangle this out of your team's vocabulary. Is that, are you still interested? Are you still in the market? Have you bought yet? Hey, I haven't heard from you in 2 weeks. Yeah, I mean, and that haven't heard from you in 2 weeks is always an automated email that reaches the customer a day after your salesperson spoke to them. So it looks like nobody's working inside. It's too easy to say yes or no to one of these things and immediately end follow-up with your customers. So if you say, hey, are you still interested? No, thanks. All right, see you in the next 4 years from now. Are you still in the market? Are you still looking? Nope. Okay, I'll go kill myself. Like, nobody, stop asking easy questions to get them off of your follow-up list. Ask smarter questions that even if they answer it. Oh, here. Oh, yeah, I didn't hook up audio, it doesn't matter. And I'll go through some basic data, but if you can connect with a customer in under 10 minutes, they have 3 times more likely to visit your dealership. 3 times more likely. Sorry, or is that 20 minutes? Oh, then people that got back 20 minutes or longer. So I will tell you, my process is, depending on your setup, I don't care if you call first and then email, or email and then call first. I will tell you, statistically, what we've been able to see is you engage with more people if you call first. Your closing ratio is better if you email first, though. If I had a BDC that is stationary in front of computers, I would expect them to email first and then call right after. And I use the email to set up the call. If I have salespeople handling leads, then I'll let them call first, because their response time is typically about 10 to 15 minutes slower than that of a BDC's. So I know that time is running out. But do not stop the clock. There's no value in it. If you look in your CRM and you see notes in the system that just say SC, 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 then they're just lying to the system for the sake of lying to the system. I don't need the customer's stop clock. I don't need the CRM stop clock. I want a customer to get a response back as fast as humanly possible. So long as it's a quality response, it doesn't matter to me what's in the CRM, what the response times are. And did I turn something off? Hey! Well, I just went through. Talk to me, Goose. Great. Either way, a few of my rules, and again, every single email should have an entirely different topic. Any email, every template built out in your CRM, and I'm fans of templates, because guess what? You did not hire your salespeople to write grammatically correct sentences with well thought out replies. So for that reason, load their fingertips as much as you load their lips with phone training. Load their fingertips with the right things to say. But every email, number one, should have a different. Yeah, well, no, not just that, because that's just if this, then that. I'm saying, like, why buy from us is third-party validation templates, surveys from managers, have different, unique triggers that can capture customer, understanding more about the trade, things like that. Every email should be sent based on the time of a lead. So if a lead comes in at 3 p.m. in the afternoon, I schedule all my emails to go out 22 hours later, and 46 hours later, and 70 hours later. And I want those phone calls to happen to the customer 24 hours later, 48 hours later, 72 hours later. People are creatures of habit. So if I know somebody has the personal time to do some shopping, to submit a lead or fill out a form field at 4 in the afternoon, then I know that probably 4 p.m. the next day is a good time to reach out to them as well. So I will always try to preface the email, so people check their emails all day long through their phones. If I can get them an email just a little in advance of my team calling them, then there's some front of mind awareness, the more apt to pick up the phone. And now you're no longer just calling saying, are you still interested? You're calling saying, hey, the only reason for my call is my manager just sent over a survey to you. I just want to make sure you received it. Give me a call back at this number. If I don't hear from you, I'll call you again tomorrow. You don't need to ask questions. You can say, did you receive it? But you don't have to say, are you still interested? Are you still in the market? You need to be letting people know that there's an email out there for them. You want to make sure it's getting to them. And I said, every follow-up call should be preceded by an email. Every email must have a different topic. As we grade how thoroughly people are following up with their opportunities, we figured out these are the core things that actually matter. Is what are the results? Well, I'll start at the top, but timing plays a major amount of importance. How quick are they doing it consistently? What content are they sending? Are they sending pricing information? I will tell you that does play, pricing information outbound plays a major role in whether or not you receive an additional engagement from them. If you withhold price, you're delaying the sale and delaying conversations. That goes for on your websites as well, ladies and gentlemen. Engagement, are you generating engagement? And if so, how much effort is your team putting forth? We're looking at how many emails they're sending, how many calls they're making, how many texts they're sending. So there's a lot of boring information that your sales managers are not going to look at, but somebody in your store needs to take a very close look to understand, what are we doing with all these internet leads? Do not work with somebody who just recommends, hey, you're getting 100 leads, you're selling 10 cars, let's get you 200 leads, because guess how many you're going to sell? 20. That's stupid. Improve your processes, improve your messaging and your communication and your team's understanding of that. So you say, okay, let's get you up to 15. And once we max that out or plateau, maybe that's the saturation of your market, then you can buy more leads. So it's 30. But why spend more money at something if you're not really cultivating enough engagement out of what you already have?
Is it fair to say you don't have a lead problem, you got a sales problem? Is that fair or not?
Yeah, I mean, by and large, yeah, it's a people issue, or a technology issue.
People or process?
Yeah, no, I mean, yes, it's exactly all of it. That's why I'm saying bring it all together. People can be lazy, people can have great work ethic and work with substandard tools, and it hinders them and handcuffs them from being able to connect with customers the right way. They also could be doing their job, and they could have good tools, but you got a crap process, and it's not engaging with customers, and it's got all the wrong messaging. Or you could have great messaging, and you could have great tools, and you have shite for people who just are unwilling to complete those tasks. So that's why it takes a teacher, if you will, to put it all together, and hopefully that person exists in your store. So real quick, I'll end with I always call a CRM utilization quiz. How successful you're going to be at handling internet opportunities, and I'm trying to get out of this gentleman's way so you can see, because I am like, I could block out the sun if I wanted to, is how you are following up with this. So I'll just say, do you have people that log customers in the CRM consistently, or do you have people that when they do log them, it's with a slightly different spelled name or a slightly one phone number off, and they know to go, see, these guys are pointing like, those sons of bitches skate us all the time. This does happen. People will go and just log incorrect information so they don't have to share that customer sale with anybody else. So how do you log people into the CRM? Are these scheduled activities? I'm a big believer, as I said before, scheduling things to fire on the minute or the hour rather than by the day. I know some CRMs just, they take all your batched emails together and they blast them out at 3 in the morning as long as they can. And then they submit white papers out that say the best time to send emails and to get them opened is first thing in the morning. Well, of course it is if you can only send them at 3 in the morning. But what I'll say is do it by the minute and the hour rather than by day. Most of us don't want to read a lot of emails first thing in the morning. We want to work first thing in the morning. We don't want to do all the personal stuff. We want to do the personal stuff later in the afternoon. So try sending it later. There's a reason Google, if you own a small business, and Jason could probably agree to this, Google, when you're advertising with them, calls you once a month to get more money from you between 5 p.m. and 7 p.m. all the time. It doesn't matter if it's 5 p.m., 7 p.m. their time. It matters if it's 5 to 7 your time, because they know that's when most people pick up the phone. So God forbid if If somebody doesn't reach somebody, when a lead first comes in first thing in the morning, I always advocate a second call, at least on day 1. Between 5 to 7, you're going to get a lot more engagements. And don't just schedule things based on the day it arrives, day 2, day 4, everything, every CRM sets you up with day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, day 5, day 7, day 14, day 21, day 30, day 45, day 60, day 75, day 90. That's what every CRM does. Mix it up. Day 11. Oh, shit! Day 19, day 23. I mean, there's no rhyme or reason, but you don't have to batter people ongoing after day 30 much. And if you do, don't do it on the even numbers when that lead that went to every other dealer, they're all following up on those exact same intervals, or they've given up. Incorporate inventory visual emails into, or visuals into your emails. Did I say that wrong? Inventory images into emails. I can't say that again. Because people don't always remember what they write, they remember what they see. The average consumer that submits a lead, submits a form field submission on a new car, submits it to 4 different dealerships. On used cars, on 5 different used cars. Doesn't matter the dealership, 5 different used cars. So you can guess whether or not it's a dealer website lead or not, that they've probably already engaged with a few other dealerships as well. That's why timing is of the essence. That's why you've got to use visual imagery, whether it's just video of yourself or images of the inventory to make them remember what the heck they contacted you about. You desk from the CRM, and you don't just desk from the DMS, that gets saved. When your managers are looking to put a number on a trade, they take into consideration the lifetime value of that customer rather than treating every single customer that walks in the same, like they're brand new. Somebody that's done business with you and has bought 2 cars from you before gets that extra money. Maybe somebody who lives far away, not going to use your service, doesn't. 7 minutes? Oh, I'm done. I'm wrapping up. I've given him that much extra time?
Yeah.
I'm trying to get through here.
Well. I appreciate it.
Yeah, okay. I just don't want the thing like it's Vince Vaughn in Penn Teller's, like Penn Jillette's voice yelling at them. I can't express to you the importance of adding notes to the CRM, especially if you have a BDC backing people up. So reinforce notes, and as many darn notes as you can get them to do. There are a lot of people who just go with no notes. And I think if you've looked at the back and forth, the good and the bad, you'll see that there's salespeople on your floor that are guilty of this more than they're great at this. And that's what we need to dissect from the floor. We do have a people problem in our industry. See how I'm starting to talk slower now? We do have a people problem in this industry. One of the worst things about our industry is that if you sell cars for one day, literally one day, you can walk into any other dealership and get hired that day. Agree or disagree? Agreed. No, it's the truth. I used to build out an interview process. But finally, because I was sort of likable but also feared, my dealer put me in charge of firing, which is never, I don't care who you are, except for like one time I was happy about it. It's never fun to let somebody go. As soon as I was able to be put in charge of hiring, where I created an interview process where people had to come back 3 different times and meet with 4 different managers over the course of time. And if we were hiring for a manager, I used to even let a salesperson interview them, but I trained my managers how to interview. Otherwise, they just say, so you were over at Bill Jacobs, huh? Yeah? Is Sean still over there? Yeah, no, good guy. Yeah, he just played poker. So you were over there for a year and a half? Yeah, good. So, Cubs fan? Okay, yeah, no, I'm a Cubs fan. Your Sox? Whatever. I like him. I say he's go. Like, there's no barrier to entry into getting a job in this industry. It's a real problem. If we made it more difficult to work there, if we made them meet with more people, if we asked the right questions and challenged them and let them know our expectations of them on a 30, 60, 90-day goals, if we had an orientation process that once they started, it wasn't just, that's a key machine, Janice will get you logged into the CRM, so have at it. Like, that is how most are just indoctrinated into this industry with little to no training. I did not receive training. I was never fortunate enough to have somebody come into the store and train me. I just had to learn trial by fire on what I liked and what I didn't like. And thankfully, I just always adhered to the idea that if I were the customer, what would I want? And whatever that was, I would give them. I don't care if it got me into trouble or not. Whatever it was, I would give them, as far as I was able to. And I was able to accomplish more doing that than just following, yeah, God bless you. Was that a sneeze, or did somebody like step on a badger? Badger. Nice, nice. So, but either way, going back, I'll get back on track. As soon as I knew I had extra time, I was going to go off on a rant.
Now it becomes verbose.
Exactly. Loquacious.
What was, on the last slide, what was the LM at the bottom?
Left message, Jesus. Anybody who's ever looked into a CRM, I will tell you, sees LM or LVM 1,000 times. We were looking at one. I was training in Cleveland last week, and it said NC. I'm like, NC. I got nothing. I'm like, that's what the salesperson put in, is NC. Yeah, and so the BDC calls them up to follow up to see how did your experience go, what did you like about the vehicle, were you offered a test drive, is the vehicle you test drive the one you'd like to own, what prevented you from purchasing, the basic questions. Alas, the customer blows up on him. I specifically said, do not contact me again. But the salesperson, because apparently you pay for letters. The salesperson couldn't write no contact. That was too much for him. So instead, he chose to just write NC, and he could have, if the customer wanted to be litigious, get them into some legal ramifications, because as soon as they say no contact, they're done. You're opted out.
I learned.
And again, but the best of us are figuring out ways to use technology to manage the people who sell the cars, or use technology to facilitate people buying cars. And the worst of us are using technology to sell cars. People don't want to be sold, people like to buy. We don't need technology just to sell them. It inevitably, I think we all recognize, if you want a long-term relationship with a customer, if you want them for a quote-unquote customer for life, there is a value, though, in them having a physical relationship. Not a physical relationship, like, oh shit, Frank's on her again. But a real relationship with somebody, rather than just making them feel like one more number. So anyway, learn how to grade your people, because I'd say, as we grade people, I will tell you the first 6 weeks, 8 weeks, we grade every single internet person. They're all C's or lower. They all get back to customers 1 to 4 hours. Some under an hour, but not with consistency. Definitely not sending consistent pricing. Definitely, I will tell you a stupid statistic, 70% of people never make a call after day 3. 70%. These are people that know I'm watching. They know someone's watching, and they don't make a call after day 3. So with that said, do your best to make the grade. I'll get through it, and we'll let my Brent up. But again, I really want to thank Jason for putting this all together. It's fantastic. I keep getting sort of lost in the lights out here for putting this together. It's going to be a great event, but I appreciate you all. I'll be here. Ask me any questions, and I'm happy to help.
So thank you all for taking your seats. Brent Wees and I have known each other for a very long time. He is amazing with his depth of knowledge. Not only has he worked around and in and on top of and underneath the automotive business forever, he really has depth of knowledge we're talking about. So really pay attention to this. It's really going to be cool. Brent Wees.
Thank you. All right. It's good to be back after 30 minutes. I wanted to share with you guys a session I've started doing, and I'm just starting to take out on the road. And I released it last week in Nashville, Tennessee, when I was down there speaking. And I wanted to share it with you guys because I like to not only talk like Joe and I did and figure out and debunk and demystify things that are going on in our business in terms of our marketing and our strategies and the way we think, but I also want to look at things that help us just as people and the way we operate and the way we work as professionals in this business. So my session is basically called So You Want to Be a Rock Star. And that's a term that's thrown around in this industry a lot. Like, this person's a rock star, that person's a rock star, I'm a rock star, you're a rock star. And honestly, it's a little tiring to me. And the reason why it is because I think about people like Keith Richards. And I love Keith Richards, and I love the fact that Keith Richards is a legendary rock star. And he will outlive us all. And he even quit drinking, so he's even like, he's raised that bar even more. So the thing about Keith, though, is, in the Stones in particular, they are legendary rock stars. And I want to sort of take stories from the legends and take you through some things to look at how you're operating yourself and how you're operating your stores, and holistically looking at the business as a whole. So why are we here, right? We want to be great. You know, we come to these sessions, we come to these things because we want to learn more. We want to be better. We want to be great. We want to exceed. We want to make an impression, right? And we want that to be profitable. So what I want to do with you guys today is I want to define a rock star versus a one-hit wonder or a flash in the pan. Because I think that's very important, because there's a lot of rock stars out there, but there are only so many that are truly legendary. And follow along with me, because I'm gonna make my case. But first and foremost, here's what defines, working through, I pulled this from Rolling Stone, but here's the thing about rock stars in general, right? They have talent, they have effort, there's determination, they attract attention for doing or producing something. That is the commonality between rock stars and one-hit wonders. Come on. But legendary rock stars do all of those things. Excuse me, I'm spitting out some hummus there. Legendary rock stars do all of those things continuously over time. This is very important. Again, they do all of these things continuously over time. There's a methodology, there's a process. And see, one-hit wonders don't keep a connection to their audience or understand the need to change. Anybody know who these bozos are? Thank you, that's so good. Everyone's fast on that. You can tell Toronto's like a new wave town, right? Yeah, there's still some of their stuff I think is badass, but again, that's why one-hit wonders don't stick around. They can be rock stars. One-hit wonders can totally be rock stars. I'm sorry if I'm blocking my screen. They can be, but they just don't understand that process and that need to change and grow.
Was that you in the sunglasses?
That is me in the sunglasses there, but my head's down so you can't recognize me. Here's Johnny Reelgood, and the reason why I want to talk about this is Urban Dictionary defines a rock star as this, and I want to read this to you. Here's Urban Dictionary's definition of a rock star. A person who always delivers the goods. If they say they're going to do something, they do it. Rock stars tend to downplay their success and don't like attention. They simply deliver consistent results and say little. That's really important because, see, automotive rock stars don't do that at all. We're going to tell you all fucking day how awesome we are, right? All day long we're going to tell you, and we're going to tell you, and we're going to tell you, and we're going to get in our cars in the morning, and we're going to shoot ourselves in the car in the morning, and we're going to tell you how awesome we are and how great things are going to be. And I'm not taking shots at my buddy back there who's trying to do educational content. I'm talking about all those people that are great leaders and motivators and just tell me what they ate for breakfast this morning and how much brand is moving through their system while they drive to the dealership to be another rock star day. And Johnny Rotten is that person. Johnny Rotten is the person who's going to tell you how much of an impact he had on punk rock. You guys know who this is, right? Johnny Rotten, the Sex Pistols. Back in the late 70s, early 80s, the Sex Pistols broke out of England. Here's the thing. The Sex Pistols were created just like the Monkees were. If you can believe it. Malcolm McLaren created this band. These guys didn't create this band. Joe Strummer, Mick Jones, Joey Ramone, Dee Dee Ramone, those guys met. They worked together in garages. They formed their bands. The Sex Pistols were created as an act. Like, these guys were such an act, and they were perfect for the British market. But by the time he actually took these guys on the road, their first little U.S. tour crushed these guys. Like, they couldn't even pull it off on the road. Rotten learned later on and created other acts. But the Sex Pistols as a band couldn't even do like 8 or 9 dates in the States. Sid Vicious got all strung out on even more heroin, killed his girlfriend than himself, and the band broke up. Like, again, just a nightmare. But this guy will tell you they are solely responsible for punk rock. And I will tell you something. Detroit, Michigan was responsible for punk rock, the home of automotive. You know, MC5, the Stooges. Like, Iggy Pop and the Stooges came out of Detroit in the late 60s, basically playing punk rock. And as Iggy put it, I think we killed the Summer of Love, right? So there you go. Detroit, I think, created punk rock, and Detroit also is a home of automotive. So again, let's look at that, because Rotten will always take credit for the work. And again, you have to remember that the people who sometimes speak the loudest may not always be delivering true work or truth in their music. So let's talk about some stories now that help us understand things that we can understand at our dealership, but we can understand them through the stories of some legendary rock stars. And there's a dedication to doing the work. So keep your enemies close. Not these two, not Mick and Keith, but the people, like what happened with these guys. And I'll back up and I'll tell this story. Mick and Keith and the Stones were basically a glorified blues cover band. They love the blues, right? If you know anything about both of these guys, Keith Richards in his biography still feels that Mick Jagger is the best blues harmonica player he's ever heard. That's pretty high praise for Keith Richards, who is like a disciple of blues music. But all they were doing is touring Europe and playing blues music in their early days. And the Beatles were doing the same. The Beatles were doing covers, but then Paul and John started writing stuff, right? McCartney and Lennon were writing music, and they knew how to write hooks. The Stones manager saw that their profitability was based on their need to change, their need to start writing their own stuff. But the Stones couldn't do it. They could play their asses off. They could play dirty riffs, and they could play blues all night long. So what the Stones manager did was he made a deal and said, we'll give Paul and John, give us some writing tips. Help us understand how to write and craft a song. You give me what you guys are doing to do that. Help Mick and Keith, and we'll give you riffs. So Keith was trading riffs for tips on how to write music. And then the manager locked them in a room together. Mick and Keith got locked in a room together for a weekend, 3 or 4 days, and they weren't allowed to come out until they wrote their first song. They dedicated themselves to doing that work. And it's interesting because Richards talks about it now, and he says the minute they got that first song locked down, it was like a tap that was turned on that he can never turn off. But it was dedication to doing the work and something that was going to make them more profitable. So take a page out of those stores that you see. There's stores we all look at, right? There's stores that are our McCartneys and our Lennons. Stores that go, wow, they do great work. I have my great friend Kevin Fry down in Cincinnati, the Weiler Automotive Group. You know, Kevin's group, they do good work. It's not necessarily taking it exactly as they're doing it, but you can find those good things, those good pieces that you can apply and figure out your own way and putting your own spin on it. Because even after Keith and Mick learned it, the press still thought the Beatles and the Stones were doing this, and all the time in the back, they're passing tips back and forth to continue to help each other evolve. So you can take things from your friend's story. You don't have to punk it exactly, but you can take it and put your own spin on it and make it your own, and that's the dedication to doing the work. Anybody know who these guys are?
The Smiths.
Thank you, the Smiths. Arguably, and the critics, well, not even arguably, like British critics and critics around the world have called these guys one of the most influential bands ever to come out of the British independent music scene. These guys broke in Manchester in 1982, and to this day, like, you still hear their stuff in movies, you hear their stuff in commercials. Like Johnny Marr, the guitarist over here, just released Call the Comet, brilliant solo album. Like, they're still making music. Morrissey was like a really, had a great solo career. He's a complete whack job. But for these guys as a band, when the Smiths broke in '82 in Manchester, they were literally this band that were going to be like the next Beatles or the Stones out of England, and they only made it 5 years. They couldn't get past 1987 as a band. And the reason they couldn't was because of personality. Their dedication to doing the work wasn't there because they couldn't get past each other's personalities. And the personality was this. You got Marr, the guitarist, who wanted to expand and grow and use more instruments and more people playing on the albums and things like that. And Morrissey didn't like that. Morrissey in the middle, he wanted to start doing 60s covers. So all this work and all this like hype that they started and they were getting, like all this momentum, the personalities were clashing, but they were putting they were just basically setting their lines in the sand and not budging. Marr wanted to go this way musically, and Morrissey just wanted to do covers. And they got so stuck on that's what broke up the band. You've got all of the success, you've got these albums coming out, you've got record labels like throwing money at you, all of this like potential, and you blow it all because your personalities are just clashing that much over you want to do covers and you want to use more musicians. That's it. But again, I bring this back to think about how many times in our business or with our teams that we get our lines in the sand with people. Right? We get those moments where someone on a team or maybe someone else in another department does something and it ticks you off. And it sets you on the wrong path internally, like the culture in your store. How many times do you see another manager or another staff or someone do something and you go, well, I'm not going to do it because that person always does it. Or this person just said this in our leadership or our sales meeting and I don't agree with that, so I'm not going to do it. Like, there's just these small things that are character defects of ours where we get offended or our feelings get hurt, but we allow it to get hurt enough that we let it affect the culture in our stores or the culture at our businesses. And it's small personality things that there's a saying called live and let live. And I will be very candid with everybody in the room and those watching at home. But I'm a 25-year guy in Alcoholics Anonymous, and there's a slogan called live and let live. Like, I don't have to agree with everything I hear every day. And I'm not going to agree with everything I need to hear every day. But sometimes I have to take it and I have to let it go. And sometimes when we're working, we have to take things in and we have to let it go. We can't like overreact and get emotional about everything. Sometimes we have to let our teams communicate things because you know what? Maybe they've done a bit of work and maybe they've come up with something for the reason why they're going to do the things they do. But that is where personalities get into play, and that's where you've got to dial stuff back, and you can't let those things get in your way in order to do good business as a team or as an organization or interdepartmentally in your dealerships or your stores. All right, here's understanding the tech. This is really important. The key to longevity is to learn every aspect of music that you can. No better person to tell the story than the man here in Prince, and it's a damn shame he's not around anymore. But here's the thing you should know. He's performed consistently, by the time of his death, over 40 years, 39 studio recordings that he did himself, not to mention all the publishing and writing he did for other people, all the engineering he did, and usually on his albums he played every single instrument. I recommend you go look at his halftime show. NFL Films did a little, what's that? Yeah. By far the greatest halftime show at a Super Bowl ever. But NFL Films even did a short about it with all the production guys talking about working with him in this torrential rainstorm. In 40 years, it never rained on a Super Bowl. And they said the rain was coming in sideways into the upper booth. And this guy's on stage, on slippery tile, and he's platform shoes. His backup dancers are in 8-inch heels, and he's being passed live guitars the whole time. Live instruments, thunderstorm going on, and Prince is knocking it out of the park. And the one thing they said, like, we can, is there anything we can do? And all he said was, can we make it rain harder? You know what I mean? Like one of the guys was like, and this is Prince, and he tore it apart. And you watch that, and that's someone understanding the conditions, the performance, the production, everyone around him. And even watching him, if you watch this short, pay attention, there's a part where he walks down the catwalk of the stage and the two dancers come down his side and he's playing his ass off and he's in the middle of some, like he's in his zone, and he turns and he doesn't see them, but it's just the way he turns and moves through them with his guitar. Because you see, you can go on YouTube fails and see people get hit in the head like that when you shared with us the other day. Remember the guy swung the guitar and hit the singer in the head? This is not Prince. Prince is too smooth for this. Even with all of this chaos going on around him and people all over the floor in these Super Bowl halftime shows, Prince is still moving, like knows where every single person and piece of equipment is in this pouring rainstorm. It's amazing. Even to the fact where he's done stuff where he's done like 6-hour concerts, like Montreal, and I'll get to that later, but very famous story about the Montreal Jazz Festival just a few years ago, even 2 years before he died, I think. 6 hours, got on stage at midnight, played till 6 in the morning. That's just knowing your stuff. Like the man's incredible. So the true stars learn technology inside and out at the dealerships, and we were talking about that earlier in our earlier session. It is true, like learn everything. Technology is going to come into the dealerships, guys, whether you like it or not. You have to use it. It's going to evolve with or without you. And that's the ironic thing is, like, say to everybody, if you've got pushback at your store and someone's like, I'm just not technically savvy, ask this question. Hey, everybody, hold up your smartphones. Does anyone in this room here not have a smartphone? Anybody? Like, I know Bill's not connected to his provider, but he still has a he has no connectivity. He's totally off the grid right now.
Make notes.
Exactly. You can still make notes, but you're still using it. But I always do that anytime someone says, I'm not technically savvy. I'm like, hey, can you put my contacts in your smartphone? And they do that. And I'm like, dude, you own a smartphone. You own something that can launch a fucking rocket, for God's sakes, right? We can do everything with these stupid phones. We have so much power in our hands, so there's not one person on your team that's allowed to say, I'm not technically savvy. There's too much power in our hands that we have to use, like it or not, because it moves without us. And that's something that we have to remember. Just remember on that. And also remember, too, that like I was saying about learning your technology and understanding the data of it, like Prince understood his music, is we are seeing that where we said earlier, we're seeing a 15% drop in traffic at the dealership and walk-in traffic. But people that are understanding their technology and their time are actually keeping their appointments up 17%, right? So it's just using it and understanding it, unless you're these guys. These guys didn't understand anything, really. They didn't understand English. They didn't speak English. They didn't really know what they were doing most of the time or any of that part. Everyone knows Milli Vanilli for what they didn't know. But one-hit wonders at our dealerships, though, those sharks usually hide the fact that they know little about the technology. Like you can have a 60-car-a-month guy in your dealership, and I guarantee you if Joe went in and opened up the CRM, he's nowhere in there. Because he's burning through ups. Like your biggest rock stars are the people that don't know anything about technology, and they're hurting the data. Like that whole garbage in, garbage out starts because of your top performers aren't using something, and if they're not using something, that culture that'll go.
If I will, there's an old gentleman at a store in Georgia, and he sells $35 per month. He doesn't know how to log into a CRM to save his life, but he can barely write his name. But they will print out numbers for him of his old customers on CRM, and he'll sit and he'll call 40 people in a day. He's not afraid of calling the customers. But that's the portion where I said, you don't need to teach Mo how to use the CRM. He's too damn old. They're not going
As long as someone's leveraging the CRM to help Mo.
But they hired somebody to literally be his administrative assistant in the CRM. You saw 35 cars. They created a tier system where once you hit 20 cars a month consistently 2 months in a row,
Right.
they hire you your own assistant for $500
There you go.
a week.
Mo's just a stereotypical one-shoe dirty leg.
Yeah.
Yeah. So. There you
Different source, same
let's talk about understanding the data and how it holds others accountable to it as well. All right. And I ain't talking about love. I'm talking about data. Everyone knows this gentleman, right? Diamond Dave from Van Halen. Everybody thinks Dave's kind of a crackpot, right? Everyone knows Dave Lee Roth from Van Halen. Guy's kind of nuts. Eddie's. What's that? Right. So this is Roth, but here's an interesting story about David Lee Roth that Henry Rollins tells. So Henry Rollins, one of the godfather of hardcore punk. So Rollins does a lot of speaking and has his own interview show and goes around and interviews all these great people. Rollins talked about going to see Ted Nugent as a 16-year-old in Washington, D.C. Him and Ian MacKaye from Minor Threat went to see Ted Nugent, and this unknown band from California, Van Halen, was opening up for Nugent that night. And he said these guys came out and they destroyed. Like, they were so good. And then what happened was Nugent came out after and like apparently had technical issues, and so the crowd started chanting for more Van Halen to get them out because Nugent's band was just tanking so bad. And apparently Ted, because he's, Ted's a pretty stable guy himself. Ted had a meltdown apparently at the show. So Rollins was talking about not only just seeing Van Halen for the first time in the scenario around it, because also that's like Nugent not understanding his audience, not understanding the CX of the performance. But Rollins went up and finally met David Lee Roth and talked about that show. And the thing Rollins said that stood out to him was David Lee Roth, like a calculator, automatically remembered how many tickets were sold at the gate, what they sold at their own merch table that night, and what pieces and how much. They said he was just like a machine. And it was the first thing he said about the show. It wasn't like, oh, I'm glad you saw us. No, we sold that many tickets that night. Our take was this. Our merch was this. We sold this many T-shirts. We sold this many albums. He said apparently about Roth that's Roth's understanding of the data. Does anyone know why they pulled out the M&Ms? Van Halen pulled it out. Van Halen had the rider, right? Everyone knows the rider, the M&Ms, right? Van Halen had it in their rider. You got to pull all the brown M&Ms out of the package. Like we want a big bowl of M&Ms, and you got to pull all the brown M&Ms out. It was in every rider, buried in a contract in the back. And everyone after that did it to be like, I'm going to one-up Van Halen and do something even goofier. The reason why they did this was to hold people accountable. So Roth understood the data, but apparently in an early tour, they had a stage kind of collapse, like not collapse, it hurt people, didn't kill anybody, but the lawsuits and the insurance started flying around. And Van Halen realized because they are part of this machine, they are also part of the groups that could be sued for someone being injured. And so what they realized was that promoter and that production team weren't taking the safety factors in account. They weren't keeping their people safe. They put that rider into their contracts, deep into the contract, and if they didn't do it, they wouldn't play because they knew the promoters and the producers weren't accountable. They weren't reading their contracts. They weren't paying attention to what Van Halen was dictating for their, as soon as they saw that, they go, these guys don't care about anything. They just want the gate. They're not taking care of people's safety or anything else. So that's why the old M&M story was actually true, was because they wanted to hold people accountable for their stuff. And that's why I want you guys to hold, rockstar managers understand how data can help them build better things. A rockstar manager is a guy who, like a legendary guy, is looking at data for instance, so with Next Up, we have floor traffic data, right? We can see the walk-in traffic, we can see the appointments shown, we can see how many times a manager intros. But a manager is using data like that, or they're going into the CRM, or they're doing something. If they're a service director or a parts manager, but they're using their data to take the time to coach somebody up. Help them out, mentor them up, make them a better salesperson, a service advisor, make them a better parts person. It's all about mentoring, because if you're a manager and you're like, I'm too busy, so I'm going to lock myself away in my office cave, or I'm just going to desk deals all day, you're actually not doing what you've been paid to do, and that's coach people and train people. And we hear it, right? Like Wayne Gretzky couldn't coach hockey worth beans, right? Gretzky was the best hockey player in the whole world, can't coach a hockey team. So your 60 car guy dude may not be a great manager, and they have to be people that are good with people to help people and empower people. So that's the thing about understanding your data and understanding how things run, because you have to be that person that can take a new person that comes into the store and really welcome them into it. And I give dealers a ton of credit, because when I owned my agency, I knew nothing about the automotive segment whatsoever. I knew nothing about dealership business. I knew nothing about automotive advertising, but the dealer principals were the guys that taught me everything I needed to know about the business. And I'm grateful to those guys. I didn't learn it from the OEMs because I worked at a tier 1 agency. I owned my own little small agency, and I worked with dealers, and they taught me all about the automotive business. And I thought that was really telling, because their people also have to bring in all the new people and do the same thing. Their managers have to remember that too, and I think sometimes managers get a little lost on target. Now, Chuck Berry, on the other hand, in understanding your data or understanding your contracts or what you're writing up for people, Berry didn't understand that. Chess Records was the record company that produced a lot of early 50s acts. Chuck Berry, Fats Domino, a ton of them. And Alan Freed was a DJ in New York City who was playing all this rock and roll that was coming out. Thing is, Freed was in Chess Records' back pocket. Chess Records was giving him publishing rights and royalties on their artist recordings, while Freed, in exchange for Freed playing it on the radio. So on the first recording and pressing of Chuck Berry's Maybelline, one of the most famous rock recordings, Freed had publishing rights on that. Freed had publishing credit on that. So Chuck Berry was making basically about 1/2 cent on everything he was selling. And he didn't read the contract, and even he says it in his biography. I didn't read my contract. I didn't read anything, and I learned the hardest lesson right away. But at the time of Barry's death, like Barry was a dude that if we had him playing this, he can't because he's dead, but if he was playing it, if he came in, Jason would have to pay him in cash before he even walked up on stage. Barry traveled light. He goes, just get me this backup band, I'll tell him how to play it. But you give me a bag of money before I walk up on that stage, or I'm not walking up on that stage, and he'd take his money home. Like he left at closing, I think like his estate was worth about $12 million when he passed away, but now it's worth like an estimated $50 million because of his publishing and stuff. But he learned that hard lesson right away and learned everything he had to do. He managed his own stuff, he wrote his own publishing deals, he did everything his way after that because he was so stung. And I think his mom, I think the quotes here, what does his mom say is something about like, I don't know, don't let the same dog bite you twice or something like that. But, one hot wonders though, like they don't understand the data, so they burn through ups, right? One hit wonders will burn through a lot of ups, and they'll create a really lousy environment and a culture at your store. They just won't like it. And, but they, and it really does affect everyone. And they look at social media and the landscape, right? Like, so people who want to be rock stars and don't understand using data to make themselves better, they just want to use social media, and they want to use I've got my own way of selling cars, and I don't do what everyone else does because I'm a social media rock star, and I got to put my stuff on Instagram every day. And my whole take on that is like being Instagram famous is like being rich in Monopoly. So just remember that next time where you're sort of coveting what someone may have up on social media, because you can make yourself whatever you want on social media. You really can. It does not take a lot of time, nor it does take any effort. But the real truth is the work, right? So like one-hit wonders, they don't understand the work, and they don't understand how data ladders into that. And putting a premium on CX is a big thing for legendary rock stars. Everyone knows these two, Bruce Springsteen, Clarence Clemens. This picture was taken 44 years ago. 44 years ago, and these guys are ripping it out, right? Everyone everyone sees this picture of Springsteen and they get it. Like, someone tell me, I would just go around the room, shout out someone that, if someone said, I'm going to go, I haven't gone to see concerts in a long time. It's been 5 to 10 years since I've gone to see a live concert. Who should I go see? Just tell me anybody you tell, like without even blinking, who you'd go see. Doesn't matter. And don't be funny. Like someone that you go like, no matter, every time I see them, they kill.
Train.
Who?
Train.
Okay. Joe, come on, you see a lot of live music. But who would you say though? Like who's that person that you go, you know what? If you're gonna go see somebody, this person never disappoints.
It's too many for me to get.
Come on.
Brad Paisley.
Thank you, Brad Paisley.
Madonna.
Madonna, okay.
Gotta say Kiss.
Kiss? Great. Garth Brooks.
Steel Panther.
Roger Waters.
Steel Panther. Roger Waters. Everyone's got one. One of mine's like Fishbone from LA. Or, I've got them. Like Sheryl Crow just played here last week. Like Sheryl Crow played at Budweiser stage. Like, I'm a punk rock kid that grew up in the 80s in that scene. But I've seen Sheryl Crow live, and she tears it up. She is so good live. So again, but those are the things that we can, when you think about it, you can really pull those people up right away. You can tell people, and that's what this is all about. And Springsteen said it best: sustaining an audience is hard. It demands a consistency of thought, of purpose, and of action over a long period of time. How do we start this? It's doing these things continually over a long period of time. And Springsteen talks about that, right? It is that, and that is that CX, right? So leadership teams should be placing that onus, because when you go see Springsteen in concert, he's going to give you 3 hours of blood, sweat, and tears, and he's going to sing to you. And people talk about going to see Springsteen, and if they're close to the stage, they're like, he was singing right to me the whole time, right? People talk about that at shows like Springsteen. Springsteen touches people, like Kiss, Garth Brooks, Madonna. It doesn't matter if you're dialed into those shows, and there's someone that really goes the extra mile to have, like, U2, you name it. Those shows are so big. But that performance at your dealership, just the fact of walking in and making that person's visit that memorable for them, that they go away and say, hey, who should I buy a car from? Buy it from Brandon's Toyota. Like, that performance was amazing. Like everything about everyone I met, everything I looked at, everything I touched, talked to, drank, ate at the store, everything was like incredible. I would go back there every time I needed to buy a car. That is that same thinking of, like, Springsteen puts so much into every concert he plays. So are you putting so much into every visitor that comes through, or are you pre-qualifying them before they even break the glass? Something to think about. It was a long time for you. It was a long time for me. It was a long time for anyone. Looks like it's meant to be. No, it's not, Axel. It's not meant to be. Because Axel, here you go. They're talking about CX and concert CX. Nobody shouted out Guns N' Roses for one of those memorable concerts, because these guys, like Axl Rose, would be 3 hours late for stuff. Before the reunion, there was 2 guys in my agency that went to that show. And I think they went to Hamilton to Cops Coliseum. And I remember them coming back the next morning, and they were like, those MFers were 3.5 hours before they got on stage. That's actually what broke up the band. Slash shut down the band because he was so pissed at Axl coming on stage late like that every night, because Slash understood the CX. Like, you can't make people wait like that. You can't have people pay $90 a ticket on a school night with the babysitter taking care of the kids, and you're in Hamilton waiting for Axl Rose to, like, take a sweet time and get out on stage.
Isn't that how Axl Rose got all the ownership of the rights of the songs? Is because he wouldn't go out on stage. Slash cared so much about finally going on giving a concert that they signed over the rights to him.
Something along those lines. Like, he handcuffed him so much, and that's the thing. Like, Slash is a performer and understands what the audience is there to get, like what the audience is there to pay for. And that's the same thing. This is almost like turnstiling. It's like every time you make a customer wait, every time you walk away from them, every time you go just get a manager, every time you just, I'll be right back, every time your phone goes off and you take that text or phone, I just got to take this. Every time you walk away from the customer, you're Axl Rosing them. Let's use that term moving forward. Oh, you just totally Axl Rose that guy. Because turnstyling's too, it's too old school. Let's just call it you Axl Rose them. Because you do. Every time you make someone wait, you're killing that experience for them. And no one likes to wait. They'll wait if there's a purpose behind it. If you're waiting with them and you're doing something, so think about that time. Like, think about the things you're doing in case finance is busy and you can't get that person in because both your finance managers are working deals with people, but one's been in there for maybe 25 minutes. Like, on our platform, we can see, okay, we've got a finance manager who's been in for 25 minutes. We're usually 30 minutes in finance per customer. We've got 5 more minutes. Why don't you and I do the tech? It's just thinking about what can you do to keep keep your customer engaged so they never have to wait. Because that is the thing that killed, again, these guys were like the Smiths. These guys came out like their first album did nothing for a full year, and then they were the biggest band ever. And I don't think that was 10 years maybe, right? If you look at their whole timeline before they broke up. Okay, timing is everything. We're in the home stretch here. So bands like the Stones, like U2, like Springsteen, Garth Brooks, they're all well-run organizations, right? They're not just bands. They are big corporations. They are organizations. And they understand the consistency of being in front of their audience and how to be in front of it, even if they're not playing. It's album releases, it's interviews, it's side projects, it's different things. Maybe it's a documentary, maybe it's a movie. Like Dave Grohl from the Foo Fighters is brilliant at that, right? Like there's a lot of content he produces in between stuff. Those organizations, not just the band, understand how to stay in front of people. And that's that consistency. And there's a reason why all of these bands are the highest grossing live acts, is because by the time they get back out in front of these audiences, people can't wait to give you their money, right? And that's that consistency of staying in front of them all the time, right? Just different ways, different pieces of content, strategically moving them through their funnels until it's time to play again, or it's time to bring them back into your concert venue for your own show for them, okay? So use their time when you're not in front of the customers. Think about that. What are you doing when you're not in front of a customer? Like we talked about earlier, are we standing around, are we hanging around waiting for walk-ins? Or are we actually doing things that can actually make our dealership better? Maybe you like to write. Maybe there's a blog you can write for the dealership website on something that you're passionate about in the dealership or a facet of the business. Maybe you're working your CRM, and I get it. You can't spend every minute of every day working the CRM, but maybe you're out doing some community work, or there's all sorts of things you can be doing as a dealership employee because you have 5.5 hours of your day where you're not in front of a customer. I have the data, and the data doesn't lie. I got 12 years of data that shows you are not in front of a customer for 5 hours of your day. So if you're too busy to do things that are asked of you, or too busy to do otherwise, I will call shenanigans on that because there's just too much time. And it's interesting too now, I've been doing this experiment for about 2 months now where I'm literally clocking every second of every day. I'm using Clockify app on my browser, and I'm literally time tracking every little thing and every big thing I work on to like really look at where I'm spending my time and how I'm spending it, because I want to practice what I preach.
How much is on spell check?
How much is on spell check? Oh my God, like 16 hours.
Go back. Use Grammarly.
You do Grammarly. Go back? Why? Shut up. You've had your time, Webb. Sit down. Go. Don't you have a nap to take or something? You know, yours. Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry. Just sit. Just stay down. Exactly. No kidding. So the Miseducation of Lauryn Hill was a huge album. That timing is everything. And when her album came out, her solo album came out, she was the biggest thing in R&B. They were hoping for Lauryn, like they were literally hoping Lauryn, like they had everything, like the perfect package of everything. And that album of hers was brilliant. Won all these Grammys. Like they had movies lined up for her. They had everything lined up for her. And she was like, nah, I'm going to go crazy. And but not that she did, but it just like her behavior got really erratic. She didn't show up for stuff. You know, she refused to do things. Like, and I get it. You're an artist, and you can have your own. You can have your own persona in your own life. You can. Nina Simone, classic pre-example of Lauryn Hill. Like Lauryn Hill was like the second version of Nina Simone. Nina Simone, for those of you who don't know, jazz ingenue, brilliant singer, and then she decided, hey man, like I'm going to do my own thing, and like kind of disappeared, right? And so Lauryn did the same thing, and for her own reasons. However, she came back and got, every time she came back though, and got in front of audiences, and this is the thing, I don't care how you act and I don't care what you want to do with yourself, but every time she got back in front of audiences though, she brought the erratic behavior with her. Super late, like Axl Rose for gigs, not showing up different things. It's like, you know what? If people are taking the time to come see you and they want to see you and they want to like revel in your artistry, don't keep crazy at home. Like bring the pro version of the show to the stage. Bring the pro version of your show to your dealership. You know, take that time and really bring that. Don't be erratic when you're doing things, right? So it's an extreme look at it, but it's the other thing too, because I think sometimes we do that. Our erratic behavior is talking about all the stuff we do on social media. That's our erratic behavior. Posting stuff going, you know, it's 3 o'clock in the morning and I'm still crushing it at work. Or I'm still doing something and I'm grustling, right? Like we call it grustling when you're hustling and grinding all at the same time and you're doing it so fast you're now grustling. So you use that. It's one of ours. But I say that because so often we're using social media, again, to say all of this stuff that we're doing, but actually, in fact, we're not doing anything. It's like being at shows here. It's like, yeah, I'm here at Game Changer, but then I left and I got back to my store and I didn't take anything back with me that I could take to a meeting. I could write into a brief, maybe share with people, go, hey, I learned a couple really cool things. Even the small stuff, even a couple things you could take away from Joe's to go, hey, a couple things from Joe's for CRM that we could be doing. Let's take a look at it. As long as there's something actionable you can take away. Because that's our erratic behavior. We can go away to shows and we can get really lit up at the content we're hearing and the speakers like myself that you're listening to, but it's how you enable it afterwards. And that's a consistency instead of being erratic. Instead of going to shows, getting our heads full of thought and then posting all about it, but then not doing anything about it. And that is really tough, right? If you don't follow any process, it ultimately blows up on you, right? It's going to blow up on your team. It's going to blow up in your business. I don't care how you do it or don't do it, but you've got to have some sort of accountable process, okay? No one is bigger than the band or the store. Remember what I said, these guys are organizations, right? Bands are organizations, they're corporations. No one is bigger than, like the Stones need a record company. They need a record company to produce, like to press the albums, distribute them, sell them. They need management and financial teams to run that business, sell the merchandise. Charlie Watt of the Stones took all their merchandise in-house back in the 80s because he saw how, he understood the data and saw how much money they were losing to outside vendors selling and having all the rights to their stuff. Right? But the engine that runs the Stone, the engine that runs Springsteen, they're all those things. So anyone that's out there that's telling you at their store that they're bigger than the store, that they're the reason that store's successful, I call bullshit again, because you don't have anything unless that manufacturer is building you cars, right? You're not bigger than the store, because if you don't have a manufacturer, you don't have cars to sell. If you don't have a GM that's empowering you to be a blabbermouth on social media and talking about how great you are and allowing you to do that stuff, that's fine if they're empowering you to do that and you love your job and you're selling stuff and you're doing good business for them. But that general manager is empowered, like that general manager is your road manager. He's giving you the venue in which to do it. You are not bigger than the store. Rock stars and automotives are not bigger than the store because without all the other pieces, they have nothing to perform with. They have nothing to give a customer or their audience when that audience breaks the glass. And that's the thing we need to always understand is we aren't. And that's best working in a team instead of always empowering the individual, because I can also tell you I've done like closed door meetings with small groups of dealers that have talked about allowing the rock stars to get away with things that has critically hurt their business. And from the words of one of them, if I knew how much money I had to pay out to correct things one of our rock stars did at our dealership, I would have gotten rid of them earlier. But we turned a blind eye to stuff and it killed our culture. From an HR standpoint, from a legal standpoint. These are the things you have to remember. No one is bigger than your organization's mentality of what you want to do for your customer, right? So again, sustaining an audience is hard. It demands a consistency of thought, of purpose, and of action over a long period of time. That's the thing you always have to remember, and take it from Springsteen and take it from Richards. Yeah, look at Keith. He's not the best looking guy anymore, but he understands it. He understands longevity, and he's wildly successful, and he's one of the happiest guys you'll ever meet. Like, how can you not be? Look at this guy's life. But he understands the business of it, and he's enjoying himself. So I hope that you take some of the stories. I hope you take some of the lessons from some of our legendary rock stars. And if you're going to make people or yourselves in your organization a rock star, make them legendary, because then it's more of a team effort. Good? That's it. All done. Thanks, Tom.
I love it.
Thanks.
That's a lot of work for him to put together. So let's give it up again. Come on. So as the night goes on, and as we enjoy the Blue Jays game and dinner later, I implore you, we've got experts in the room, talk to them. If you challenge what they think, talk to them. Ask them what they talked about. If you don't understand something, this is a great opportunity for you to grow with it. Do you have my USB stick? No, it's right there. Never mind. We're going to get hooked up for Jason in a second. He's going to do this. I want to take a couple minutes and tell you what's going to happen next. So we'll do that in a second. Hopefully that connects. Source. Anyway, I'll let Jason, you guys, Josh, where are you? Can you, where are you? Problem solve that? There it is. Okay. Never mind. Yep. Okay. So before Jason comes up, and Jason's our host, who's having a good time so far? Good. So, you know, even though I live in the automotive life, I really believe in community and building it up a lot. Yeah. It's the biggest way, and it may not be the fastest way to grow your dealership and your network, but it is definitely the most sustainable. So, just for a little experiment, who has a business card on them? Yeah. Okay. I want you to turn to the person next to you, sitting next to you, and I want you to introduce yourself because most of you haven't done that already. So anyone that you haven't talked to, just turn next to you, shake their hand, say hello. Take your business card. Take your business card, slide it across the table, or get their email address. Great. So, everybody, that's awesome. I'll grab all your attention again for a second. I'll grab everyone's attention again for a second. This is, you're now networking, whether you like it or not. This is what it is. Introducing yourself to someone you don't know and not doing a sales pitch. Just talking about what you've done, introduce yourself, being part of the community is awesome. That's the biggest thing. Who in the dealership world holds events that aren't sales events at their dealership? Car lady? I see that. I like that. Who? So you do? What kind of events do you do?
We had another event. It was just kind of an informative event where we had a workout crew come in. It was related to the industry, but this specific role was not sell.
Perfect.
So we had an F45 challenge. We brought in the entire F45 group challenge and hosted the event there. We've also done tons of like business after 5 in Barrie.
Yep.
The Barrie Chamber of Commerce. They'll come into the showroom.
Awesome. And how has your community responded?
It's huge. You get a lot of connections.
So, just like they're doing, just like I'm doing with my dealership and other dealerships and my own network, community grows faster together. If you only sold one car to everyone in your area of obligation, or we call it PMA, how many cars would that be this year? 150,000 and a low number? In some, like Mississauga, 350,000? Just think about that. If you only sold one car to everyone in your network, in your community, how many cars would that be? Right? So why are you not inviting the community in to do events that are not sales? Hold networking events. Women in power and business. Local community events. Having your MP come and talk. Nothing to do with automotive. I can tell you right now it is life-changing because the community will embrace you. When the community embraces you, you grow. And if you give them that opportunity to grow, they'll continue to come back. They'll service your car. We've picked up 35% of our service business this year has been non-Nissan because of our events. Think about that. And those people will then eventually come into my funnel to sell, right? So think about that. Think about the community. Think about the handshake and just introducing yourself. Now do it on a larger scale. 20 people. And I challenge even more. Ask each and every one of your salespeople, and if you are, ask your GM to hold one event a month that you'll sponsor. Most of you have meeting rooms anyway. You don't have to clear out your showroom floor. Just ask them to host one event. Whatever they're passionate about, bring that community in. It will make a difference. Thanks for listening. Of course, our host for the evening, and the reason we're all here was the alcohol. Thank you. Is Jason Harris. Jason and I have known each other since he was with Zenkin many years ago. Then he left me with what I got. Jason is a visionary when it comes to marketing, digital. You all know his videos. You see them every 35 minutes. Thanks so much, Joshua. Really appreciate that. I think you want to get down to 30 minutes, don't you? He's got great insights, not only into operations, because he's been a dealer principal. He's worked in a dealer. He's worked in multiple brands, and I'm sure he's going to tell you that story again.
You already did my intro.
I did. First off, let's just give it up to the bar staff. They're putting up with it all night. Please tip her. Please tip her. And all the camera crew. This is not an easy job. Niall has to listen to me really loudly and turn down the volume. So let's give it up for the camera crew again. Without this. And for you guys looking at home, we really appreciate you.
Yes, right.
Whether 1 or 2, 5, 10, 20 people. Hopefully not sinking.
Couple hundred.
The fun part is I do this with every time I introduce Jason because he seems to like it.
We love it, JP.
Yeah, we love it. So, like I mentioned before, I worked in a bar for years, and I had the opportunity to unfortunately work at a strip club for, and the announcer got sick one night, and he's like, well, no one's going to announce the ladies. I'm like, whoa, no. I pledge my allegiance to the strip club. I get to do it. So I'm overly loud, kind of obnoxious, and I have a strip club announcer voice. That's why you all kind of heard me before. You're like, yeah, I know that
Keep
song.
them around.
That's why you keep me around. So with further ado, for your viewing pleasure, ladies and gentlemen, mesdames et messieurs, please welcome to the stage, Jason Harris.
Woo! That's an intro. Hey guys, I want to start off by thanking everyone for coming out. We've had so much fun doing these events. This is our 10th one. Yes, we're up to number 10 now. This started off that we were just going to do this for a handful of dealers, and it just continued to grow and continue to grow. And the fact that you guys are here showing that you have that thirst, So everybody that get the email and they didn't show up, sorry, you're not thirsty. You can just turn off the live feed now. No, I'm just kidding. So guys, here's what I want to talk to you guys about today. A little bit about myself, but hey, JP did such a good job, I don't think I really need to go into it. Thank you.
Skip a slide.
So what I want to talk to you guys about today, I know it's going to seem a little 101, but I actually feel like I have to kick it old school and go back to school with a bunch of people just because of what I've been seeing going on in the industry right now. So what I've been seeing going on in the industry right now is a lot of reactiveness in our marketing efforts. A lot of money is getting spent currently into the system, and the way the money is being spent and the creative that's coming out is just really kind of subpar. In fact, actually, I think over the last couple of years as an industry, we've gotten better and better and better with our marketing efforts, but just in the last 6 months, it's like we forgot everything that we learned in the last 4 or 5 years and just went right back to a bunch of old school stuff. So guys, what I want to review with you today is ad types. Because as it sits today, we've never had so many different types of ad types or ad formats at our disposal. So that's really cool. Audience targeting. This is, it is digital marketing. One of the biggest advantages of digital marketing is that it is a laser, not a shotgun. And unfortunately, I still feel there's a lot of efforts out there right now in the market that are still this shotgun approach. And lastly, I want to talk about creative strategies, because it's one thing that is just kind of being left to the very last of our marketing efforts, and the customer is the one that's really feeling the hurt on that, and we're not seeing the results that we should be seeing out of our ad dollars. So to get into it, guys, today I'm going to talk about ad types. I'm going to talk about video. I'm going to talk about HTML5. Okay. I'm going to talk about Messenger. I'm still talking about carousel ads. I'm kind of surprised. It's actually probably the oldest ad type on this list. But hey, we're still talking about it. Instant experience, not to be confused with Instagram, but it is a Facebook product. So we'll talk a little bit about that. Story ads. I don't know about you guys right now, but for a lot of dealerships, if you're doing it right and creating the right creative, targeting the right audience, people are crushing it right now with story ads. And dynamic ads. Again, it just seems like we kind of set the go button on our dynamic ads and then forgot to actually make adjustments or do optimizations to it. So we're going to go over some ad types, guys. Okay. Big delay. There we go. No, it's jumping on me now. This always happens to me. I think it doesn't like me. Oh, is that what it is?
There you go. Should be working now.
Should be working now. Okay.
Just the volume of TV?
No, I'll do that though real quick. Everybody sit there and wait until something played? 20% of people will read the text on a page, but 80% of people will watch a video. If you guys were reading this text down below, you're actually in the minority. See, you thought I was just kind of messing around, right? Okay. 4 times as many customers would rather watch a video of a product than read about it, all right? Almost 50% of internet users look for a video related to a product or service. If you guys are not doing video, you're missing out in a huge way. If video is not, video accounts for 65% of all internet traffic. Think about that, guys. 65% of all internet traffic right now is video. That's insane. That's how much video we're consuming. I think I heard at one point in time that we consume on a daily basis more video than that was produced between the 30s all the way up to the 70s. In a single day, all the video that's produced in that time frame, we now actually consume on a daily basis, all right? 64% of viewers are more likely to make an online purchase, all right, including if the video is included in their landing page, okay? So we're not only engaging with the customer and sharing our message, we're also increasing our conversion rate through video, okay? Every single landing page needs to have a video. I was in a dealership the other day, and everyone's complaining about leads right now. I'm not getting enough leads. There's not enough leads. Somehow, like we talked about this earlier, like leads is going to fix your problem of selling cars. You know, we know that's a lot more than that. But when we go to take a look at the website and see these lead, quote unquote, lead engagement forms, has anybody filled out like a test drive form or a product form at any point in time in the last couple of years? And why should you? There's no value proposition for you as a consumer to do so. Video can actually be a huge part of that. If you guys have a test drive form or any type of engagement form on your website, putting a video right above that, explaining to the customer the value to them in filling out that form and what's going to happen actually they fill out that form, your conversion rate is going to go through the roof, right? Consumers want to watch. They don't want to be told, okay? So you got to show them, not necessarily tell them. Your content has to be well done. An engaging, well-produced video can be a start to a long-term customer relationship. You'd be amazed how many phone calls, guys, I get from my LinkedIn connections or my Instagram connections or my Facebook connections, and they answer the phone like, hey, Jay, you got a second? Can we talk? In fact, I just got one yesterday. I'm like, yes. Who is this? They're like, oh, this is, so at the dealership. I'm watching your stuff for a long time. I just got a quick question. All right? They felt that comfortable to start the conversation that way because they've engaged with me so many times. They've been watching my content for so long that they felt that close to me that they could just pick up the phone and just say, I got a quick question. Can you help me with it? Okay? Engaging with that customer. Your goal should be to entertain and to educate. You got to bring both to your video. If you're just doing one or the other, the value proposition for them to continue to watch those videos just continue to go down, down, and down. "60% engagement of a video ad increases purchase intent by 97%. So we're looking to put a video out there in the form of an ad. If we can achieve a 60% engagement rate, we see a 97% increase, all right, and the intent to submit the form, make a phone call, or just simply walk into the dealership. We want to evoke emotion in our marketing efforts. Now, how do you evoke an emotion in your marketing efforts if you're just putting out a single image? How can you evoke emotion just through black and white text? We can't, right? Through video, I can evoke an emotion. I can make you laugh, I can piss you off, or I can even pull at your heartstrings a little bit. If I can evoke an emotion with you through a video, your probability of retaining that message and remembering who I am is 4,000 times higher than if it was just a single image or black and white text. If I sat here, guys, and asked you what were the last 5 text ads you saw, the probability is you wouldn't remember a single one of them, okay? If I asked you what was the last 5 maybe image ads you saw, you might be able to recall 1 or 2. Okay, but if I sit here and ask you what were the last 5 videos you watched, it might take you a few minutes, but you'd actually be able to recall all 5. And for the reason for that is those videos more than likely evoked some type of emotion. Now we can do that in as simple as 5 to 10 seconds. Actually, so much so, Facebook and Instagram is now optimizing for 3 seconds. I think it's a little crazy. 3 seconds still doesn't seem long enough for me. But the studies have showed that 3 seconds of video is enough time for the brain to acknowledge the message and to recall that brand if they've experienced that brand once before. Okay? So if you are targeting existing customers, 3 to 5 seconds sometimes is all it can take. All right? If you're targeting new customers, I really recommend 10 to 30 seconds because they need to hear your story, need to hear your voice until you start hitting those smaller videos. Any questions on video real quick? Anybody out there doing video right now in their advertising efforts? Yeah. Yeah, we got a walking billboard of what video can do to your brand. And if you guys, yeah, shoot.
Pure education videos or entertainment videos. What do you think has better pull? So entertaining or educating?
I think you always got to do a little bit of both. You know, I think with every video you put out there, there needs to be some type of entertainment value to it. There also needs to be some type of educational element to it as well, right? The value proposition of that video increases when one side of my brain is entertained while the other side of my brain learns something. Okay, actually, our brains work. There's 2 different spots for that, right? The way that we process data and information is on one side of our brain. The place that we store, all right, things that make us laugh or things that make us sad or things that may get us angry, we store that on another side of the brain. Okay, so if you guys can evoke both emotions, or you guys do both, if you can educate and entertain, the probability of them retaining that message is incredibly higher. Any other questions on video before I move forward? HTML5. Who in the room has heard of HTML5? Okay, good. A few people have. I know, you know what? This is not new. HTML5 has been around for almost 10 years, okay? But I still am not seeing it in our day-to-day marketing efforts. And to explain a little bit HTML5, I've got a short video.
Chatter on the internet these days, especially geeky chatter, you may have heard the term HTML5. Well, what is that? HTML stands for, forget it. But it's the behind-the-scenes coding language that makes us able to see stuff online. Since the original HTML was invented with the web over 20 years ago, it has gone through many updates, but it's been more than a decade since the last one, and in web terms, that's pretty much forever. I mean, like 10 years ago, we all still loved our digital watches.
Oh, wow, a calculator.
So HTML has been a few steps behind changes on the web for quite some time. For example, when video came along, there was no way to integrate it naturally into HTML, so different companies developed their own video players to work around it. These worked okay, but they were all external plugins, meaning that you had to download them, and this was, well, annoying and potentially risky. HTML5 is adding capabilities to deal with this stuff, like video, right into its code, so that plugins hopefully won't be necessary. And there's plans to add a bunch more cool stuff that previously was tricky or even impossible to implement with HTML alone. The overall hope is that someday it will create a standard, consistent web experience across all devices and browsers. HTML5 is still being developed, and as of early 2012 isn't 100% finalized, but the browsers are starting to implement some of its features, and together they are working hard to get HTML5 fully ready for, someday in the future.
So it's 2019, guys, and we're still working through HTML5. All right, now a lot of companies out there have made it easier. You don't necessarily need a coding background to do it. There are some great apps out there that will allow you to design creative in HTML5. What HTML5 ads allow you to do is to bring a level of animation to your ad, and you can add video to your ad. You can now add text bots to your ad. There's a lot more that you can do with that to engage with the customer at the point of the actual ad piece. Before, it's always been, hey, here's my ad, click on it, let me take you to a landing page, all right? Now we can actually engage directly with the customer right at that moment when they're consuming the piece with HTML5 ads, guys. Does everybody remember Flash? Okay. All right. This was a big problem. Come on, you remember Flash? You remember Flash. All right, HTML5 is what really replaced Flash. Okay, it came in as kind of the universal code so that everybody can use it, no matter what operating system, no matter what device. Your creative will look consistently the same. You'd be amazed how many display ads I still see out there, single image display ads, that are not fitted properly or don't size properly for a mobile device versus a tablet versus a desktop. I know it's crazy, it's 2019, I'm still talking about this shit, but I'm talking about it because there are still a lot of people out there that are doing old crap. So this is why I'm talking about it, guys. If it sounds a little boring, this is why I need to bring it up, okay? Traditionally, HTML5 required a developer, but now there's some amazing third-party apps out there that allow you to design some very cool creative right from your cell phone or your desktop. So HTML5 should not be a scary thing for you, all right? It's something that you should embrace. Literally about 30 minutes of research will show you how to develop out an HTML5 ad. Once you've done it, you'll never go back to a standard traditional display ad. Any questions on HTML5 ads? No? Okay, cool. All right, carousel ads. Carousel ads is the oldest format in here, but it is still crushing it. Still amazed how many single image display ads that I'm seeing out there. Carousel ads gives the opportunity to introduce multiple images, multiple pictures, multiple videos, multiple messages, and the string of them together can tell the story, giving the client the opportunity to kind of swipe through and telling that story. Just don't put random pictures together, okay? When you're thinking of putting this creative together, you're starting with one picture, you're telling a story through pictures or through short videos in your carousel ads. They are 10 times more effective than just a single image ad. Yes?
You can have one video, one image, or all images?
You can do it all. Yes, you can do one video, you can do multiple images and end with a video, which is actually really cool too, because you can do a nice little quick little intro piece, go through a couple different slides, and then finish it as kind of your call to action. All right, carousels is still probably the most commonly used ad format on Facebook and Instagram. And like I said, it's still the oldest of the formats, but it's still crushing it, and I'm not seeing it done effectively. You can see here, this creative piece here, you can see how the story kind of continues to go, talking about the features of the vehicle with that call to action to continue to learn more. Messenger ads. Anybody doing messenger ads right now? Okay, I'm amazed how this just kind of slipped just through the cracks. Messenger's ads were launched well over a year ago, and they're still not heavily adopted with our industry, and I'm not 100% sure why, because it's instant communication to your potential customer. They get to consume your creative and ask you a question right there on the frickin' spot, natively within the app. If you guys are not running Messenger ads, again, you're missing out on a huge opportunity here. The amazing thing with Messenger too is, and I love Facebook doing this, is that it crosses multiple platforms, right? I can start my conversation on this device, I can have an additional conversation on that device, and I can continue to bounce through it. So, I mean, look, we're not selling $13 widgets, right? We're selling $20, $30, $40, $50, $60, $70,000 cars. Right? That's not going to be done in just a single conversation. But with Messenger, that conversation stays with the consumer no matter what device they go to. As long as they're logged into it, they can continue to have that conversation with you. So Messenger ads, huge opportunity, guys. Any questions on Messenger ads? I know I'm going to run through this a little quick because it's getting towards the tail end. Any questions? No? Okay, cool. Instant experience ads. Another one, guys. This almost ranks right up there with me with like video. Okay, if you're not doing instant experience ads, again, you're missing huge opportunities right here. You got to think of each one of these ad formats as like a sandbox. Okay, and as more people play in that sandbox, the cost to play continues to go up. All right, HTML5 ads are still pretty low cost, even though they've been around for a long time. A lot of people are playing in that sandbox. Video ads are stupid cheap because, again, not many people play in that sandbox. The average cost of a video view right now for a 30-second video is between 3 to 5 cents. And sometimes I've seen it even cheaper. I mean, that's crazy to put something that engages with the customer, all right, and creates engagement and develops out awareness, starts to make the brand more prominent for 3 to 5 cents. Okay, so here's what instant experience is. Anybody familiar with this at all, by the way? Oh, okay, cool. I like that. All right, The instant experience ad is kind of like the 1, 2, 3 punch of ads, all right? In the past, you always had a 1, 2. You showed the ad, click here to take you to the landing page. That's what it was. Always has been that case. Well, Facebook and Instagram go, well, that's kind of a shitty experience. Let's see what we can do to change that. So they created the instant experience. The instant experience allows you to consume the ad, click to expand the ad, and opens up a little microsite within the app. Right? That microsite loads 15 times faster than any landing page. So that 1 to 2 happens super, super fast. Right? Inside that little microsite, they didn't have to leave their app, nothing else opened up, they get to consume more information on it. So they see the app, go, yeah, okay, that's kind of interesting. Let me dive into that a little bit more. They can dive into that. You can see from the example that I have back here, in that microsite, you can include images, you can include videos, and you can include call to actions to take the next step, which could be taking them to your full landing page or ask them to schedule the test drive or set up a service appointment or so on and so forth. Lead generation is a great opportunity with instant experience as well. You know, you're going to find much higher quality leads come from an instant experience. Is anybody running lead ads right now? Okay, lead ads came out almost a couple years ago. Okay, and you know, first probably 12 months they were out, everyone was really crushing it on lead ads. Now what we found is the quality of the lead ad has just kind of disintegrated over time. They're just not that great. Now, what instant experience does, it almost kind of pre-qualifies the person. So instead of just having here's the creative, go straight to a lead ad, it's here's the creative, here's the longer form of that creative with more information. Now the call to action is going into a lead ad. So we're seeing much better conversion here. And again, a lot less expensive because it's a sandbox that nobody's playing in right now. Story ads. Anybody run story ads right now? Loving me some story ads right now. Seriously, guys. Look, every once in a while, a new ad format will come out, and it won't work. In fact, actually, Facebook and Instagram and Google, they're actually kind of quiet when they introduce new ad formats. It's like they just kind of put them out there, but they don't necessarily tell anybody. They're just going to kind of see how the market's going to react to it. In some cases, they'll actually just put an ad format out there, go, oh, that kind of sucked, and actually just pull it right back and not even tell you. So story ads came out a little bit over 9 months ago. And originally, story ads, you had to have at least 10,000 followers on your Instagram account to actually put in a story ad. So that's how they kind of tested to see if it was a viable product. Well, a lot of people don't realize that it worked really well for them. And about 6 months ago, now they actually allowed us to purchase that story ad space with not having to have 10,000 followers to get into it, okay? Any big Instagram users here? You guys, Instagram? Okay. Everyone understands what the story ad is? What a story is? Okay. So placing these story ads, again, it's a sandbox not a lot of people are playing in. Your cost of play in that space is very low, but they're rewarding the people that are playing in story ads by giving up some, what I consider some really top dollar real estate for a very low cost. But again, this is not going to last long. So jump into story ads as quick as you can, get what you can out of it, and then bounce out when it gets too expensive.
What would you see the most effective or best information from story ads?
So I'll show you real quick what kind of a story ad, and really what it is, it's a teaser piece, right? Like, look how cool this is. You know, we want to get them to engage with us. You don't have a lot of time with a story ad. You really don't, okay? You got about 10 seconds with a story ad. So whatever you're putting in there needs to be fun and engaging, and it really needs to be like, hey, you want to see the rest? Follow me, you know? Swipe up to see the rest. Short paid stories. Okay, we're good. We're over that. Okay, swipe up options. We got a couple different swipe up options. So they swipe up. We can take them to a landing page. We can get them to fill out a form. We can have them do a spin to win type contest natively within the app. We can actually ask them to follow us. We can ask them to create an account. There are great call to actions with story ads. Again, also with the story ad, it's a measurable element because it's a 10-second video. So again, we'll talk about this a little bit when we go farther into audiences, but just right now, why do I harp so much on the video? Not necessarily just the low cost of the video engagement, but it's the measurable engagement that we get with video that we don't get with anything else, okay? I know exactly how many people have watched 25%, 50%, 60%, 70%, 80%, 90%, 100% of the videos. I know exactly how many people have watched 25%, 50%, 60%, 70%, 80%, 100% 50%, 75%, or 100% of whatever video I put out there. And based on that, I can re-engage with them with another video, and then another video, and then maybe come in for that call to action. So we use video in a huge way as kind of a filtration process. So, you know, the average cost per click right now is like almost $3. That's insane that we're paying that much. I mean, I remember when I was paying like 15 cents. So I did Google Ads for a long time. It's amazing that we're still using the exact same strategy now as I was 15 years ago. Kind of crazy, but still, whatever. We use that video as a filter, okay? Present that video to a larger audience. Whoever engages with that video can then move into a smaller filtered audience. You now re-engage with that filtered audience, a higher call to action. Your cost of engagement is a lot lower, your engagement is much higher, and you use video to filter who actually gives a crap about your message or not, okay? So instead of hitting up everybody, you guys got to think of ads now as not a singular piece. We've always thought of one ads out there as like, hey, I put my ad out there, then they give me a call. Not so much anymore, okay? Your ad strategies need to be a path of engagement, okay? So you got the intention, they engage with you. Now what do you do with them? Okay? You got their attention then, they engage with you again, great. Now what do you do with them? Always multiple layers of engagement. It's never one singular ad that's ever going to do the trick anymore. Plus, if you continue to play that one singular ad game, you're going to pay stupid prices for it. Any questions about story ads before I move on? Okay, cool. Dynamic ads. I'm going to go through dynamic ads real quick. Is everybody familiar with dynamic ads? Okay, here's the thing I see with dynamic ads. It's not a set it and forget it, okay? You guys need to consistently check your dynamic ads. You'll be blown away how many times my team will find a dynamic ad running where the inventory feed or the product catalog feed expired like a month ago, and there's no images in it. And they'll just say images coming soon, okay? So when it comes to dynamic inventory, or dynamic ads, you just need to stay on top of that. That's the biggest I can give you. Okay, I want to get into audience targeting, because again, this is something we do not spend enough time on, and it's so insanely important. Audience targeting. You guys need to, there's 3 parts to audience targeting, and I'm going to go through this a little quick. You got demographic, you got behavior, and you got interest, okay? Before you run any ad whatsoever, you need to answer these 3 things, okay? You can't just go with one, you got to go with all 3. You got to know who your demographic is. Who are you targeting with this piece of creative? Are you targeting young single males? Are you targeting executive retirees? Are you targeting large families? All right, you need to know who your demographic is. Language, age, gender, education level, household income, parental status, religion, geographic location. You need to answer as many of these as humanly possible. Okay, again, not a shotgun approach, very laser approach. Once you have the demographic, now we need to decide their behavior. There are 2 ways to detect behavior. That is through keywords. What do I actually type into my search? By the way, guys, you'd be amazed how many accounts I get into right now, and I'm still seeing like bidding for like single words, like Camry, F-150. Okay, over 4+ words are used on average in a Google search. 4+ words. If you guys are bidding on 1 to 2 word phrases, your cost is going to be astronomically high. All right? If you're going to continue to bid with keywords, you need to make sure what you're actually bidding on are key phrases, not keywords. In fact, I would love if they actually replace that word with keywords and key phrases. Okay? And what the most commonly used key phrase right now in searches, near me. Okay? Almost everything is near me. A pizza place near me. A Hyundai dealership near me. All right? Near me is the most commonly used out there. All right? In market. Okay? In market is a big one. Both Facebook, Instagram, and Google have spent a stupid amount of time developing out algorithms to develop out behaviors. Okay? So if you're shopping online for a new or used car, they know all the pages you visited. They know what you've done. Okay? So they put in actual in-marketed efforts. So they can break it down into 3 different categories: new or used, all right, brand, or all the way down to vehicle type. You can actually choose all three if you want. You can choose one, you can choose two, or you can go all the way down to the vehicle itself. Any questions about behavior before I move on?
Yes. Is that
Go for it.
on Google Analytics? You still get the ability to target like in-market automotive shoppers? I think.
And Facebook and Instagram, yes. And Facebook and Instagram just introduced it brand as well.
Really?
Before it used to be just vehicle type, new or used. Now they've gone as far as even they've actually introduced the specific vehicle. Not every single manufacturer, but all the way down to the specific vehicle. So like you go on there right now, you can actually target in interest Nissan Rogue. It's not for every car, but they are slowly putting those things out. Here's the shitty part with Facebook and Instagram. They're never going to tell you this.
Yeah.
They don't send a newsletter out and say, hey guys, guess what we just did? We included all these new in-market audiences. You're going to have to kind of check it from time to time to see what's new and what's available. Interest, okay? Every target audience has a specific interest, all right? We've identified the demographic. We've identified the behavior. Now we have to identify the interest, all right? My interests, dogs, camping, hiking. Those are some of my interests. I like ATVing. I like spending my time outdoors, all right? That's one of my biggest interests. I'm a parent between the ages of 30 and 45, okay? I have 3 kids at home, and I'm in market for an SUV. Boom, boom, boom. All of these things have to be identified, interest, demographic, and in market, either behavior and key phrases, not words, key phrases, all right, before you can ever start making creative. Once you got those things identified, now we can start talking about creative strategies. So now I know who I'm actually going to create the creative for. Who I'm going to make the creative for. I'm not making the creative for my dealership. I'm not making the creative for my manufacturer. I'm making the creative for my audience. Okay?
We fit a lot of life into our Subaru Forester.
It's good to be back.
Sure is. A lot of everything. Over all the years, we trusted it to carry and protect the things that were most important to us. Good boy. Even those years we had no idea what we were doing. Our Forester helped us build a life and move it across 3 states.
It's the last kitchen box.
Remember this?
Come on, babe.
Even way back then, we always knew we had a lot of life ahead of us. That's why we chose a car we knew would be there for us through it all.
Welcome to the all-new 2019 Subaru Forester. The longest lasting, most trusted Forester ever.
It's a good piece, right? Right. Do you think they knew who their audience was? Hell yeah, they did. Now, Brent did this amazing presentation. Brent, how long ago was that? Dudes and Donuts. When was that?
Dudes and Donuts?
Yeah. Scion's big fuck up when it comes to understanding your audience.
Oh, Millennials one.
Dude, that was a what? Yeah, okay. So Brent did this amazing presentation. In fact, maybe we'll try to find it, because I actually think I saw it online at one point in time and posted it for you guys. Okay, but Scion, as we know, doesn't exist anymore, okay? Scion clearly did not understand, or at least want to embrace who their audience was, all right? Scion was selling cars to males, around the age of 40, but they thought, the car was designed for people in their 20s. So their marketing efforts continued to be for people in their 20s, yet the fucking data showed, all right, that it was that men in their 40s were the ones buying these cars, all right? They did this one video, and I'll send it to you guys all. It's literally called Dudes and Donuts, all right? It is these big, Jersey Shore meatheads in a Scion TC. They're doing donuts in a parking lot, drinking milk and eating donuts. That was an ad campaign, and they made several pieces of this. This was a pretty big ad campaign for them. So you got to understand, this is some great creative, guys. Look, they built off this. They know who their audience is, okay? Once you sit in a Subaru, you'll stay, okay? You can't see it here, but confidence in motion. Okay? They knew who their audience is, and they continue to make creative specifically for their audience. All right, guys, this is my last one, and then I'm going to cut it off here. Facebook ads versus boosted post. All right? How many people are boosting posts right now? No one wants to raise their hand because you know what I'm going to tell you to do. Okay, fucking stop. Okay? stop boosting posts, all right? Boosted posts are literally 3 steps away from just a full-blown ad, okay? A boosted post is not going to give you audience retargeting options, okay? It is literally, let me just boost the post, and then it's done and it's gone, okay? You're not going to get as many audience targeting options. So you get some demographic options, but you're not going to get interest in in-market options, okay? So the creative's already there. The creative's already there. You guys just need to take it one step farther, okay? The whole point with all this creative is that we present you with one piece of creative, we got your attention, you engage with us, now we want to take you down that path. You cannot do that with a boosted post. But the only thing you do with the boosted post is just make some giant awareness of your product or service, but even then, I kind of struggle with that because then you, again, you created the awareness, you got the attention, but then what the hell do you do with it after that? Any questions about boosted posts versus Facebook ads? Just stop doing them, run an ad, make everybody happier. Okay, cool. I had a bunch of cool slides pretty much explaining exactly what that was. The key takeaway was pretty much just don't do it. All right, guys, last thing I want to show you is August 12th in Detroit, Michigan. It's only a 5-hour drive, all right? Me and Brent are going to go do it together. All right, is the Rockstar Automotive Conference, all right? This is an amazing automotive conference. I don't know how the hell these guys do it, but they actually do it at no charge whatsoever to the dealership. There are amazing keynote speakers. Brent will be there. I will be there. Not like you guys want to see us again. But anyways, there'll be some just amazing guys there. I really encourage you guys to check it out. There's a piece of paper on your desk for to take a look at that. And
best video ever.
Yes. Let me just play the. Now, this is actually an older video. You'll see in there it actually showed $395. But the old video was so good I had to show it. It was awesome. It's totally free to dealers. Guys, check it out. It's Rockstar Auto Conference. Yes, okay, the URL's there. Good, you guys got the information. Hey, thank you guys so much.
So,
yeah, I'm like on the dot.
On the dot. So, first of all, let's give it up again for Jason. Come to its break. We're all going to get out of here and go past the restaurant to the lounge while we reorganize this for the Blue Jays game, for dinner, for an awesome buffet. Then we'll bring everybody back in. We'll eat, watch the Blue Jays game, network, and have some fun. Again, you've got a great network here. You got great professionals. Reach out, talk to them if you have any questions.
Yeah, guys, engage with us, ask questions. Let's keep the conversation going.
So head out here. Straight out through the restaurant, don't worry through the restaurant, and then the lounge. Hang out there about half an hour. We'll bring you back in for the baseball pitch, first pitch.
Thanks, guys.